Hello, everybody. Welcome to, well, this is going to be an interesting one. So, as you see, I'm not on a game for the first time in my channel. I'm actually recording something that is just my desktop. So, I wanted to go over this because, one, I've checked through a lot of the information that's been going on about the whole Quantum Ant-Man mischief, that whole ordeal. I've done my research on each party, like, involved. I really do want to say this all started because this man right here, Quantum TV, made a review about Elden Ring. If I go into his videos tab, said video no longer exists. In fact, a lot of his videos have been removed. I have actually looked through all of them to the best of my knowledge because, as you know, it's the internet. Everything has a backup somewhere. It just all is dependent upon how easily accessible it is, as well as the fact I've been following this situation since pretty well near the beginning. One of my friends told me about it personally. So I wanted to go in and actually check out as much as I could about it before doing a video on it. I'm going to do my personal opinions in this video specifically, as well as some factual information that I will be pointing out. And I have looked into, and I'm going to, since I'm recording my screen, I'm going to try to show as much proof as I can. So for those of you that don't know, this whole thing stems from a copyright claim. I think Mischief over here actually may have something about it. Yeah, it all stems from uh, Quantum TV supposedly, and I'm saying supposedly because I don't know how many people he's actually done this to. I don't know how long this has been going on. But Quantum TV is, I'm just going to say it a little bit different, using the copyright system against users who are using his video in what is, according to YouTube's own terms and service, YouTube's own terms and services is fair use content. For those of you that don't know what fair use is, essentially it can be found online, it is free, and it is transformative of a video. That means any modification in the video, meaning someone could essentially like put a bunch of effects over it and do a review of it. They don't even have to put effects on it, actually. If they do a review of the original video, putting a different context on it, or putting the same context on it in a different way, they can actually go over someone's video and do a review on it. Now, the original video in question from Quantum is no longer accessible, but if I can find it, here we go. The Act Man actually has his Elden Ring, the worst Elden Ring hot takes video, where he shows a majority of the video in it, which is where I'm going to be going through and actually using it as I'm going to be going over a lot of these situations, and I'm going to be taking clips from each video to prove points. Let's start with this, because this is the... Actually, let's see here. I think Mischief stated that this is actually, if I remember correctly, this one right here should, okay, I'm
Now,
just gonna,
before this video starts,
okay, I am going to let this play in its entirety. I do want to state that because of the size of my screen, here, let me actually just leave that as a smaller one. Didn't know I could do that. Never done that on YouTube before. Because of the size of my screen, I actually do have to zoom in. Let me zoom out a little bit. But there is all sorts of things that are great about this. And this is the reason I'm using these as context, because as some of them are going to be covered in Fair Use Acts, I have actually put requests in to talk to Mischief and Quantum. through their official channels of doing so, which they on both of their accounts they have an actual way to email them. For the time being, until I get confirmation one way or the other about the interviews, I'm not going to make any further comments on that aside from I have chosen to hide my personal email so it is not going to be shown, and I have asked them if they want me to hide the emails that I use to contact them because even though it is publicly accessible, it still might feel like a breach of privacy to them to have it shown on a channel that is completely unrelated. But in any case, here we go. So I'm going to skip around a bit. Let's see, because he has this actually broken up a bit. Okay, here, let's skip right to the false information tab of this video. Let's see, does he actually have like timestamps that are easily accessible? Yes, here we go.
Fun begin. There is a decent amount of things you could legitimately criticize Elden Ring for, whether it be the bad performance across most PCs due to real-time shader compilation issues that cause frame timing stuttering no matter what settings you set the game to, or
I will have to agree. That statement is factual. And the reason I'm doing this review is because this has exploded on YouTube to a point I've noticed it. And before this incident, and one of my friends mentioned it, and as soon as I looked up the word quantum after he mentioned this situation, I found a ton of information. I did the same thing. I looked it up on Twitter. I might pull up my Twitter just to show some of the stuff I've seen. I might not even have to because if I remember correctly, some of these videos actually have the Twitter posts in them. This is going to be a longer video because of the nature of what is going on. Anyway, I do want to point out he is correct. There are some stuttering issues due to shadering, like real-time shader issues with the game. Counterpoint on that statement. The shadering issues are mostly present in the beginning of the game because of how much stuff is there, how many trees, how much of all of that. The quantity of foliage in the beginning area is actually some of the highest, meaning the shadering actually works a lot harder there. Once you get outside of Limgrave, the first area in Elden Ring, the shadering stops being an issue. The game starts running beautifully, in my opinion. I have not personally had any serious issues with the glitching of, or the stuttering of the game. Glitches, I found a couple, but that was mostly because I was trying to go to areas you're physically not supposed to go to. And yes, I fell through the map. Which, ironically enough, the game has a mechanic to fix itself when you do that.
the terrible settings menus, like I did in my review for the game where I myself couldn't recommend the game based on the insane amount of performance issues I encountered on a system with an RTX 3070 and a Ryzen 9 5900X. However,
I do want to point that out. Oh, okay, let this play for a second.
the video we will
Okay, this review right here is actually the original one I am making reference to. This video that he has just put on his screen, which means on my screen, this review right here is actually the main reason for all of this. This review right here is, well, for one, it's a game review that takes place in a grand total of 5 minutes, where the guy talks about genuine issues about the game for, I want to say, a matter of 2 minutes, 3 minutes, maybe not even that. And in which case, he doesn't once explain the issues, he just states them. Sorry guys, I had a medical issue a while back, by the way, so if I move around pretty much at all, I get out of breath really easily. So if you hear me out of breath, just know it's because of the medical issue. But I do want to state that he mentioned the stuttering slash graphical issues. One, the graphics in Elden Ring, phenomenal, which will be present in a video I'm going to show by the Act Man momentarily, because I'm going to actually show clips from a couple of these different videos so that I can prove my point. Like also stated, I am going to jump around a bit in this video because, or in these videos, because of the fact that they are. Oh yeah, that's also a thing. Quantum TV actually does slander someone and calls them a pedophile. Um, Regardless of his reasoning for saying that statement, that statement itself, with the lack of context, since again he has removed said videos and then claims no one's putting context, which is part of the reason why I want to actually have an interview with him. But because of some of the videos I have gotten access to, I've seen the actual thing that that is referring to, as well as someone re-uploading sections of it for very specific reasons. But yes, this whole thing stems from this video right here. Quantum, the guy who's doing this video, actually this video here was a, I'm going to say, rebuttal against his critique, use that term very loosely, critique of the game.
We'll be looking at today doesn't criticize the game for any of that in its majority, but instead goes down the illegitimate criticisms of Souls-like games route, via flat out spreading false information repeatedly about the game, and all round being incredibly misinformed when it comes to Elden Ring, because it's too hard and easy mode, no matter.
And that is a statement I do want to point out. There is no easy mode for any From Software game. Just want to point that out. From Software is actually the thing I want to point out here. Because if you're doing a review of a game, you should actually be aware of who is responsible for making the game. Bandai Namco's name is always tied to every From Software game, so in turn, every Souls game. Well, every official Souls game, or Soulsborne series game. That becomes very relevant later in this. Let me see if I can skip forward a little bit.
Of Elden Ring.
So, today I'll be giving you guys a review of Elden Ring. No spoilers and none of that other nonsense, and we're gonna get straight to the point. Essentially, don't buy this game. That's the easy answer. Now, if you want the long answer, stay until the end and you will find out. Essentially, in a nutshell, though, the name of the game should not be called Elden Ring. The name of the game should be called You Died.
Okay, gonna skip past that. For one, that is every From game. Not even necessarily like that joke has been made about every single From game. Like, let me look this up real fast just to prove a point. Yeah. And some of these are actually Dark Souls. Like, it's to a point where You Died is literally on, as you see here, mugs and shirts. Like, this is ridiculous. That's absolutely absurd that someone is actually referring to this game specifically as You Died the game. No, it's just a common theme. Let's skip past the laughter bit here, which should end about there.
the peak of comedy. I have never laughed harder at a single joke in my entire life. Jimmy Carr and Dave Chappelle have got absolutely nothing on this man. Comedy will never be the same after hearing that brilliant piece of comedy. But in all
For one, I absolutely love how monotone Mischief is in that statement. But this entire section here, which is as you see, yeah, this entire rest of the video essentially. There's a weird little gap here that I don't know I don't remember why this gap was here, but there's a cut mark there. Let's see if he actually has. That's because it's the outro. Okay, but as you see, let me see if I can find it.
could understand you complaining about it. However, that isn't the reasoning behind it. Based on what you say later on, you are just bad at the game and refuse to try and get better, wanting the game to baby you instead.
Again and again and again. Because that's all you're really going to spend most of your time doing. You're going to die because the game has no easy difficulty.
Wrong.
That is absolutely
Wrong.
proved over and over.
And I'm leaving this part in because this is hilarious for the context that is about to be given.
Again.
Wrong.
How the hell has my man not seen the shit tons of memes about how easy Magic makes this game? If you are lazy and do not want to spend time to get good at this game, then just go fucking make a Magic build. It's not.
And if you were to actually go into the Elden Ring update logs, which I don't have currently because my Steam account actually has a lot of private information that is hidden to public but visible to me. Let me see. Can I pull up Steam here? Let me just pull. Oh, I didn't even type the full. Steam powered. Okay, let's just click on this. I'm not signed in, therefore you can't see my info. So, if using this, let's see. Elden Ring. Click on this real fast. Just for the sake of this video, I'm not going to actually input my real name or my real date of birth. There. Random date that puts me over my actual age by a lot. Okay. So, there's the about the games, things like that. Cool. Let's see. Is it going to say the update log here? Ah. Okay. They actually have a lot of bug fixes in this update as well. There's balance adjustments. Increased speed and direction recovery time. Decreased recovery time. Increased cast speed and decreased recovery time. These are all just sorceries and incantations. I can sit on this screen, go through all of these. Increased damage, increased cast speed, decreased recovery time, reduced FP cost, and increased damage. They're buffing magic in this game. Yeah. They're making magic in this game absurd. They're also like increasing and doing things to weapon skills as well. Now, there are a lot of bug fixes that happened, but that's not the point of me showing you this, so let's go back.
Not rocket science. This is a well-known staple of From Software games. All of them, with the exception of Sekiro, have some form of what you would consider an easy mode, aka magic. You're just not explicitly told it's an easy mode,
And I'm going to leave that as it is. Oh, here we go.
relentlessly throughout this video of yours.
And frankly, is extremely hard. And Bandai Namco likes to do this a lot in a lot of their games where they make
That statement. That is a completely false and inaccurate statement. I'm going to go over some of the other videos and state some things from the other developers as well. The other developers, the other YouTubers, including Mischief, have a couple things that are false information in their videos. But they also try to disprove said false things. It is kind of funny. I'm actually going to skip around between all three channels that I have pulled up here for the purposes of this video. But Bandai Namco is not the developer, which means, as said right here, though it is fading, clearly means he doesn't actually know the developers of the game. Which means this guy stating that he has played the game and done an actual review of it doesn't know that the actual developer of the game isn't Bandai Namco. If I'm correct, FromSoft relation to Bandai Namco. Let me look this up. Okay, I spelled it wrong because I was trying to type quick. Um, okay, jointly with them. And they own stocks. So they own part of the company, it appears. Again, just because someone owns a company, what was it? ZeniMax Media. They own Bethesda, or did own Bethesda. That doesn't mean a ZeniMax Media has is the one who's actually directly responsible for Fallout 4, Fallout 3, New Vegas. In fact, New Vegas isn't even made by Bethesda. It was made by Obsidian Entertainment. Which Obsidian is actually doing great things, mind you. And they did make a great thing there. But let's continue.
Make it just insanely difficult. And the difficulty spikes when you get to certain bosses. It's so unfair that you'll find yourself spending so many hours losing time away from your life.
Again.
Oh boy. Okay. FYI. I have watched a lot of these, but that right there made me die laughing.
And that isn't necessarily true. All you have to do to make bosses easier is a very common trope in all open world games, and it's called go out and explore the map, then come back stronger and at the appropriate level to fight said boss.
That statement right there stands true. Going back and fighting a boss at a reasonable level makes sense. Every single, and I do mean every single, open world game has that aspect possible. Essentially, that's what the use of for any game that will lock you into an area until you complete it. They also all have the ability to make saves periodically, or they have auto saves, one of which will be outside of the area that it locks you into most of the time. Sometimes a game will actually make a hard save for you when you go to do something that cannot be returned from. FromSoft games don't have that. They don't have the ability to do that. But the thing is, they never trap you in an area. Correction. I just realized the error of my statement. They do trap you in areas until you can get out. But it's never a boss fight. You're never stuck fighting the same boss on a loop till you get out of an area. In some way or another, you can always fast travel because even if the the fire or grace or lamp you're at locks you into an area, you always have the option to go to it, fast travel away, and then come back later. Oh, here's another thing. let's skip over here.
So the main issue you're having here isn't a problem with the game, but again, a problem with you.
So I would say this game is for somebody who really is looking for a sandbox. They have no family, no friends, no life, and they have literally thousands of hours to grind away on a game to level up enough so that they don't end up losing.
I can
I want to point out, I have less than 200 hours in the game. I have beaten it multiple times across multiple accounts, and I have, or not accounts, but multiple characters. And on top of that, I have actually 100%ed the game because I personally thought it was a great game. Now, am I going to critique him for not liking the game? No, frankly, I don't care. There are people who don't like every game. For instance, the Act Man, he doesn't like one game I like. That doesn't, and I know that because, let me go over here. Yeah, why was Call of Duty Vanguard so bad? See, that's an opinion. I couldn't care less. That's the thing. There's a difference between opinions and things that are stated as fact. He has stated that if you play this game, you have no. Let me scroll back to make sure I'm not quoting that wrong.
It isn't a problem with the game, but again, a problem with you.
So I would say this game is for somebody who really is looking for a sandbox. They have no family, no friends, no life, and they have literally thousands of hours to grind away on a game to level up enough so that they don't end up losing.
I
And I will also state my character that has completed the game multiple times is actually max level. And yet again, less than 200 hours in the game. Yeah, I did a lot of farming. And by that I mean everyone's favorite, go stand on this cliff with the golden scarab and the golden burled things, the pickled fowl foots, not furled, but the golden pickled fowl foot. Yeah, I stood on top of that cliff, waved the end game weapon through the air, and just killed everything down a mountain. The game is not designed so you have to spend thousands of hours. And the concept of having no family actually deeply offends me. Because, and that is a critique on him directly, that statement offends me. Because I do have a family. I do have friends. In fact, I have a daughter. And that man right there has stated you have to spend thousands of hours, clearly not true, seen by people like me who are max level already and have a couple hundred, maybe even, I'm sure someone probably has less than 100 hours and is max level. Because if you guys haven't seen, speedrunners of the game have actually gotten to a point they can beat the entire game in a span of less than 10 minutes. People who do like speed runs where they get all remembrances of the game do so in about an hour, which I have to say is completely absurd.
can straight up taste the salt pouring through my screen listening to this guy Moldo.
When you die, you lose everything you collected. Everything.
I love this. The bottom of the screen. From your last save point.
That means you start over. So leveling up is extremely hard because of the nature of the game and its difficulty level, and it's not fun. There is nothing fun about this game for somebody who is new to the franchise.
Mr. Madison, what you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have.
For the record, those of you who don't know, this is actually from a what I would consider, and I am stating this, I would consider this to be a classic film. Not classic in the same way that Where the Red Fern Grows would be, or what is the movie that got banned? There's a, or not banned, but there was a movie that got like severely censored because it said the statement quote unquote, the statement was, frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. I had to, for the record, I had to watch that movie in my history class. So for a while, it was something that was part of the curriculum in the United States. And I cannot remember the name of that movie for the life of me. But it was a great movie.
I've ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
As someone who myself is essentially brand new to the Souls franchise via Elden Ring, outside of playing a Souls game once or twice for very short increments, I can tell you right now you're flat out wrong. I fucking love Elden Ring, and making blanket statements like you just did is beyond delusional. Not only
And I do want to point out, blanket statements are actually a horrible thing that is done in general. Blanket statements are very, very harmful. Blanket statements, frankly, don't make sense. Because at no point can you state, and I will admit I am going against something I said earlier. And that's why earlier, if you remember, I did state correction, because there are games that do lock you into boss fights. But every FromSoft game has an out for it. And blanket statements can actually be very harmful to people, it can be harmful to communities, it can be harmful to all sorts of things. And it's honestly really bad. Blanket statements are very harmful to any and everyone that is directly involved in negative blanket statements. Sorry, I had to pick my words carefully. But blanket statements can be something as simple as gravity always pulls things down. The end result is it always pulls things down, but as seen from people who do the whole getting a glass of water to siphon through a hose that goes up and then back down. Gravity actually isn't the only thing at play there. There's actually hydroponic suction that actually works to do that. Essentially, the fact that the water will pull itself into the tube, the air suction will actually pull it to go up to a certain point past the peak of it, and then the pull from the water itself, since there's hydrocovalent bonds, stating the hydro part because it is related to liquid, it will actually pull itself, because if it tries to separate, it'll actually create a vacuum, which would either stop something in its tracks or continue to go, which is what happens because gravity itself will pull the water molecules in the front forward or down, which will then proceed to pull the rest of them up.
only that everything you just said was quite literally factually incorrect, you do not lose everything when you die. What does happen is you only drop your runes, the item used for leveling up, which then can be picked up at the location you died upon respawn. You also do not drop anything else when you die. No weapons are dropped, no armor is dropped, no materials are dropped, nothing is dropped apart from the runes, and they only disappear if you die again before picking them up. Something
That statement. Let's skip forward to the next little instance here, because that statement is accurate. You don't lose everything. You lose your runes, but like stated, you can literally get back to your runes. You are not required in Elden Ring to fight mob type enemies. Some do pop up in boss chambers. You are still not required to fight them. Once you kill the boss, it actually will get rid of them most of the time. There are a couple instances that the enemies will actually keep the boss fight going until you kill them.
Who played something like Dark Souls before, you probably would like it. But if you're somebody new, the menu is cluttered. It's really hard to read, and it's not user interface friendly. And then the controls, and then all of this is just clunky. The whole game feels like a clunker, right?
I'm going to now ask you to do something so insanely difficult a Navy SEAL couldn't even do it. If you do not like the default controls, open your fucking settings and change them.
There. You can change settings in the menu. The menu itself, though, if you've seen the menu for Elden Ring, if you're playing on a controller, which I highly recommend even if you have it on PC, just because Souls games require finesse, which would be better for a keyboard, but they also require the ability to do quick movements and things like that. Yes, there are still things that are better on keyboard and mouse for Elden Ring, such as the menus, because there's a lot of menus that well, the pouches more specifically. The pouches you can activate all 6 of them if you use a keyboard, but you can only activate 4 of the pouches if you actually have a controller, because of the fact that the controller, what you do is you hold Y and then you can select 4 of the pouches. Now, if Elden Ring wanted to add something else you could do to activate the other 2, that'd be good. But I don't see it being necessary, as the pouches are literally extra slots that most people that I have seen anyway, use for either their multiplayer items or their horse, which I do that as well.
It is literally a joke. It is like last gen being sold for new.
Single open world Ubisoft game.
And then you look at the graphic style. It's a joke. It is literally a joke. It is like last gen being sold for new gen.
It's almost
I'm just gonna go over to a different video here.
It's always a great
Hi, the Act Man. Good to see ya. Is that it? Is that the one I'm looking for?
Or, when you say things like,
Okay, bye, bitch. I don't give a fuck. The reality is, that's my opinion based off of playing it as a new person. They have no easy mode. The graphics are dog shit.
Are you sure about that?
The graphics are dog shit. The graphics are dog shit. The graphics are dog shit.
the way you phrase
Okay, I'm gonna let his reaction play real fast because that is beautiful. The game is gorgeous if you play on the correct settings. Yes, you can make the resolution so bad that the people look like claymation monsters. But that is true of every single video game out there. If it allows you to change the resolution down to a point that would be capable of running on, let's say, my old 2010 computer, the graphics would look so bad that YouTube can even look like claymation monsters. And I state claymation because, let's see, let me find, let me just do this real fast. Yeah, performance simply isn't good. That can be argued. Let's see if I can find images of this. I also just want to pull this photo up because I don't know about most people. I don't actually see any any real difference in most of those photos. But they're probably also all at the best settings possible for the consoles. Let's see. Mhm. Mhm. Okay, that's completely different thing. Okay. I still see almost no difference. The main differences I see in this photo, which can I get that bigger, please? Nope, that's a different page. Like, let's I can't actually do that bit. Oh no, didn't want to click on that. But as you can see from some of these, there's like the game has. Is that Elden Ring? Oh wait, no, that is because that's a spell you can get. But Elden Ring has some beautiful graphics. He's never seen that before. But there's some things you can do in Elden Ring, like in the graphic settings. You can set it down to like 360p, which why someone would do that on any game nowadays is beyond me.
Things is important. Like so. Elden Ring's graphics are complete fucking trash and I wipe my ass with them. Versus, I wasn't the biggest fan of the graphics and style. Two sentences saying the same thing, but which one do you hate more? Right?
And that statement there. Um, but I digress.
Almost like the last thing that matters in a Souls-like is how pretty the grass is. Elden Ring has without failure outclassed most AAA titles released recently in terms of how beautiful it is. Sure, it doesn't have peach fuzz rendering like Horizon Forbidden West, which I'm sure you love since it is an incredibly easy game, but it has infinitely better art style. Graphics do not matter in the vast majority of times.
Get a full breakdown, kind of confirm.
Let me just see if I can get the start of this clip.
Forbidden West.
And Digital Foundry did a full breakdown, kind of confirming everything I already knew playing the game, and most of us already knew playing the game. That the game's frame rates are trash. Like, you pay so much money for these consoles, these next-gen consoles, just to get scammed. I mean, who here is sick and tired of 4K 30? I know I am. We could have kept PS4 Pro and Xbox Series S for that.
Neither the...
Okay, one, that's not a critique of the game. Fact, that is not a critique of the game. And the human eyes are only capable of actually reacting so fast. And I'm sure there are ways to get the game at 4K 60, but your eyes only have so fast of a shutter speed themselves, which is why if you actually set things to faster than your eyes' shutter speed, you are going to noticeably see weird shit happening. And it's not the video, most of the time. Granted, it could be based on the refresh rate of your screen itself. It could be. But most of the time, it is your eyes visually playing tricks on you because the shutter speed difference between your eyes and the video itself is so nuts. It would be like getting a video from a slow motion camera moving at 1,000 times the speed of real life and slowing it down to a point, well, not slowing it down, speeding that video up to a point, you visibly start having lag in your own vision.
And especially other open world games like Dying Light 2 is one made up from nothing but pure delusion. Like, how are you gonna bring up Digital Foundry's video and the main takeaway you have is that the game's bad because it runs at 4K 60 FPS, not bringing up the issues regarding frame time stuttering.
Okay, I forgot. He made a mistake, but he did correct it in editing. Let's go forward a little bit more.
The frame stuttering, which you barely do and not to a remotely decent extent since you clearly do not understand the reasoning behind it and have no idea what you're talking about.
Especially with the 1440p resolution and things that go lower. We're not getting...
Okay, let's go into this and let's see if I can just decrease that by, 25% real fast.
the top tier graphics.
Nope, still not. Let's go 50.
We are, and they're not even trying to utilize the system.
These develop.
Okay. Now that I've got that into a way I can actually verbally or audibly
What
hear it.
you're talking about.
Especially with the 1440p resolution and things that go lower. We're not getting the top tier graphics. We are, and they're not even trying to utilize the system.
These develop.
Okay. And that is not a valid statement. The graphics in the game are actually beautiful, and there are reasonings behind the 4K and that kind of stuff. the 4K and the 30 resolution or 30 frames. There are things behind that.
Developers are coming out with these games and they're just slapping PS5 and Xbox Series X on the box without ever even attempting to tap into the power. And again, without any requirement to do so, to call themselves a multi-plat for that system, it's just the same thing. And what's even worse, the most egregious crime, is that even on PC, this game runs poorly.
Although I personally don't recommend people buy this on PC myself if they don't have a powerful system. It does not run as poorly as you described outside of the opening area. It is primarily in the opening area where frame time stuttering is a major problem, and this is something when making my review I hadn't realized yet.
See, and people who have done reviews, such as Mischief here, actually did acknowledge that. Let's go forward to the next little clip.
That you can get this game to look really good, as Digital Foundry so
That currently isn't a fix for the PC version.
only way that you can get this game to look really good, as Digital Foundry so gently pointed out, was using PS4, I'll say that again, PS4 on the PS5. Why would I do that?
To solve the issues you're crying about for the time being whilst you wait for a patch, which will fix said issue. The fact I had to explain something so simple to you would be surprising if I hadn't watched the previous parts of the video and knew your history on YouTube. The PS5 version also doesn't often drop below 50 FPS, so again it isn't a major issue on consoles. On PC however it definitely is, and I can agree with you in regards to that specifically, and only that specifically.
Like, I don't understand.
Okay, back to mock speeds. Go back to 0.5%?
With you in regards to that specifically, and only that specifically.
Like, I don't understand, like, who they made this game for, where, like, you want low frame rates, but that for me, that's a massive deal breaker. I'm a massive motion buff, and to do something like that is unacceptable.
Then
Okay. One, if they made the game to intentionally have bad frame rates, yes, that is bad. The PCs and consoles they actually test the stuff on are typically custom made to work better, which I will point out because that does hinder a lot of games. But let's keep going with this statement for a minute.
you take into consideration the fact that, again, most of your time in the open world is spent just like running around kind of aimlessly, if I'm being honest. It's one of those.
Hi, it's an open world game. And if I remember correctly, Mischief and the Actman both point this out. Your time is spent running around aimlessly. It's not. There are actually there are some yes, there are a lot of bosses that you can find hidden, which Mischief does mention over there's over 20 bosses in the beginning area. I think it's over 30 actually, but I could be wrong on that bit. I know it's around 30. But you're not running around aimlessly. There's always something to discover. There's different areas that have secret bosses. There's main story areas that if you go to, there are actually people who will give you little side missions that, for the first time I've ever seen on a Souls-like game, happens. They actually mark them on your map. Not in like a, here's a quest marker you can see from your mini-map, but in a, we're going to put this red mark on it.
Those games where like it's so spread out. The map is so big. You're gonna spend a lot of time running around.
So, like every single open world game ever made, if
Yep.
you don't like open world games and you don't like Souls-esque titles, then why the fuck did you buy Elden Ring? Obviously, you would.
And that's the thing. If you're a reviewer and you just don't like the style of a game, I get having an urge to review it because it is a good, like, it is a massively shown game. Like, there's a game I played for personal use because I kept hearing it was good, even though I didn't like the aspects of how the game was designed. I gave it a chance. And you know what? I started to fall in love with the series. I do still hate the original game, but I can play the second game, like the sequel to the game, in its entirety and be absolutely in love with it because a lot of the things that I didn't like were changed and compounded upon in such a way that made them better instead of remaining the same or getting worse. Um,
Wouldn't like it. It doesn't take a genius to figure that out. At this point, you're again not only flat out lying about the open world, but also just complaining that an open world game acts like an open world game when it comes to the fact it wants you to explore the open world. The opening area of the game, aka Limegrave, in and of itself has 35 bosses.
okay, 35 bosses. And being as the game is as secretive as it is, there might even be more. There might be more bosses that people haven't discovered. And like I stated, this is going to be a longer video, so if you've stuck around this long, thank you. Um,
Saying you spend most of your time traveling is beyond disingenuous. At most, you spend like 5 to 10 minutes going around each area of the map and unlocking all the sides of grace, which you use to fast travel. Outside of that, the map is littered with dungeons, hence
this statement right here. That is actually pretty accurate. The Limgrave Weeping Peninsula area, that is a lot of different locations to go to that have bosses. It really is. I have not seen an open world game with this many bosses. I have not personally seen one. There might be one, but this is amazing. In the open, in the beginning area of the game, I think you start out around here, if I remember correctly. I might be a little off about that, but I believe it's around here. Um, looks like 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you go up here 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. In just that area, I believe that's more bosses than Shadow of the Colossus has. In turn, meaning it has more enemies than Shadow of the Colossus. Just going off of bosses in Elden Ring. Which Shadow of the Colossus, if you don't know, is actually a wonderful game that has been it has been updated almost every system since it came out when it comes to PlayStation. It is a beautiful game with great mechanics. And what do you know? It has a lot of run the fuck around and just find shit. And yet it is one of the biggest games on PlayStation.
the opening area having 35 boss fights. This is an incredibly content-rich game, and to claim otherwise is just straight up lying to your audience.
Jesus. Let's go back to this. Let's go 0.5 again.
And to claim otherwise is just straight up lying to your audience.
I guess.
So, if you couldn't understand what he was saying, because I barely could, um, he's essentially stating that everything should be interactable in a lot of open world games. I'm sorry. A lot of open world games, not everything's interactable. That's a fact. There are some open world games that are smaller maps that literally let you interact with about everything, but not everything can be interacted with. Um, it's just not how games are meant to run because that would imply way more time being involved than actually necessary to make the game. And for the record, if you guys don't know, Elden Ring actually has less interactable stuff, but still a lot of interactable stuff. You can just straight roll into walls and sometimes uncover secret walls. You can roll through boxes, you can break vases, you can break pots, you can break candlesticks, you can break chairs, tables. You can break a lot of stuff in the environment while you're fighting. In fact, one of the boss fights literally takes place around a throne that you can break.
The initial point of this video is to say that, like, unless you are somebody who wants a severe challenge, I mean, you're the kind of person you like dying 500 times in a row, and you like restarting and literally losing everything and going back to a save point, starting from scratch.
Again, that is not what fucking happened.
Let's keep
when
going.
you die. The levels of misinformation throughout your video here is flat out so ridiculous to the point I'm having to question if you ever played the game or not. It directly marks the location on the map where you previously died, so that you can pick up the...
For the record, what he's talking about is this. This right here on your minimap, you can actually open your actual map and it'll show you the same icon. What this icon is, it's a marker showing your rune location. He is actively going to this in his video, because that is the only thing you drop when you die.
runes you dropped. And once again, you only drop the amount of runes you have on your person when you die. You do not, as you claim, lose everything.
If you like that kind of thing, Elden Ring is your game. If you don't like dying again and again and again and again and again, don't buy this game. If you get frustrated very easily, or you come home from work and you're just trying to unwind and relax, this is not a game for you.
I do just want to state, that is not an accurate statement, because some people actually find the challenge to be rewarding and therefore make them more content and happy with the fact they've overcome something. You can't just say this is not a game to come and unwind with, because a lot of times games like this people do unwind with because it lets them get their frustration out.
No shit.
What else were you exactly expecting from a studio that literally only makes the exact type of game you are describing? And once again, these strange blanket statements are so idiotic, it's truly unbelievable. I personally can relax whilst playing Elden Ring. Wanna know why? Because I'm not a man-child who gets upset over dying in a video game where death is a common occurrence. Because I chose to play a quote-unquote difficult game.
At this point, I don't even know if putting this at 0.25 times speed will work. No, it does not. Okay. So as I don't actually think anyone else has actually put this bit of the audio, or this bit of the video up in its entirety, I can't actually play this part of the video, but I'm going to let it play.
Again, I couldn't speak lowly enough about this game. I don't recommend it, and I think if you're smart, you'll just play something else. That's the review. Take it or leave it.
I mean, when it...
That is absurd. That is absurd on so many levels. It's hilarious. And for those of you that don't know, this is actually sparked up across a lot of YouTube channels. Let's go over here, because...
Are dog shit. The graphics are dog
Let's
shit.
see.
The way you phrase things is important. Like
Okay.
so. Elden Ring's graphics are complete fuck. Only so many buttons on the controller. Like, just learn it.
But then, even if you are a vet, you're still gonna die a bunch of times, right? You are.
That's
The
true.
way they made the game is so that the way the boss hits you, it takes so much of your life away. That's very frustrating.
Level up vigor.
There you
Let
go.
me just give you a little personal insight as to how I like to game.
Enlighten me.
I come home from work, I'm trying to unwind, I'm trying to relax. I'm not trying to sit there stressed out on some fucking game, yelling at the screen, trying to hashtag
Get good.
because
For the record, the hashtag #GetGood comment is relevant to every single video game you play, as I would love to see someone get absurdly pissed, and I'm sure there are, get absurdly pissed at games like Call of Duty. Because, I'm sorry, if you're playing a game like that and you can't seem to grasp the controls, and people don't want to help you because you are not really, you're not asking in the right way, most likely. I have no confirmation for how he was trying to get help, by the way, because he did actually state that people had offered to help him, but no comment on, or no, he hadn't, there's not been any proof of how people actually responded to if he tried getting help. But we'll continue for now.
that's like this mentality that all you guys have kind of gotten submitted into. You guys literally sound like abuse victims, right? Like you're in a really
Okay, for the record, never, never call fans of any video game series abuse victims. That is bad. That is real bad.
shitty relationship, and that's just how it is, man. You know, you just take it on the chin, man. It's how it is.
You sound like abuse victims. What a kind thing to say, dude. Oh, what's that? You like a video game? You fucking abuse victim?
That statement is amazing for this context because, as you saw, he didn't cut out any of this. This little rant here.
Man, it's not a fucking flight simulator. The controls are hard, bro. There's only
For the record, if you guys have ever played Flight Simulator, its controls are severely more complicated than this game.
so many buttons on the controller. Like, just learn it.
But then, even if you are a vet, you're still gonna die a bunch of times, right? You are.
That's
The
true.
way they made the game is so that the way the boss hits you, it takes so much of your life away. That's very frustrating.
Level up vigor.
But let me just give you a little personal insight as to how I like to game.
Enlighten me.
I come home from work, I'm trying to unwind, I'm trying to relax. I'm not trying to sit there stressed out on some fucking game, yelling at the screen, trying to hashtag
Get good.
because that's like this mentality that all you guys have kind of gotten submitted into. You guys literally sound like abuse victims, right?
And there is the full context. That is important because Quantum has actually stated that things like this are taken out of context. What context can you have greater than that statement? Because this is literally a majority of the video itself, posted in sequential or in chronological order from the start. Sequential order, chronological, whichever one you want to use. But this statement and all of the pre-said things from Quantum are from Quantum's mouth in the same order with nothing actually removed aside from a little bit of the video, not the audio, being removed so that other images can be put in.
Right? Like you're in a really shitty relationship, and that's just how it is, man. You know, you just take it on the chin.
Abuse victim? I bet your girlfriend slaps your nutsack at night while you're sleeping, just to fuck with you, because you like Elden Ring.
You shouldn't be saying that's how it is, or you know, we just know that that's how these games are. It's not for everyone. A game that's not for everyone isn't a game that should be made, in my opinion.
So, I'm going to leave this next bit in because it very fairly and accurately defines this statement. And I do say fairly defines because games meant for everyone. Okay. ESRB. Is this their? Yeah, this appears to be their actual website. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But let's just let's just go through this for a second. Rating categories. Okay. Let's see. Are you actually gonna go over more than just that, or is this just rating summary? Let's go back to the rating categories. Okay. Rated E for everyone. Content is generally suitable for all ages. This may contain minimal cartoon, fantasy, or mild violence, and or infrequent use of mild language. Okay. Contains a generally suitable for ages 10 and up, may contain more cartoon fantasy or mild violence, mild language, and or minimal suggestive themes. Okay. Let's just go to rated A. Content suitable only for adults, age 18 and up, may include prolonged scenes of intense violence, graphic sexual content and or gambling with real currency. Just so you know, because of that statement, if a game isn't made for everyone, it shouldn't be made. I'm going to go outside of video games here. I'm doing Florida for one specific reason here. Lottery. Lottery's a game. It is a game. I'm assuming that it's the same for the casinos or machines if they're legal in Florida. Um, but as you see, let me just pull this up real fast. Um, okay, 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 okay. You see these age differences here? I know this isn't an official website, but you see how there's age restrictions on a lot of this? Most of it's 18 and or 21, depending on the situation. Charity has 16 because it has charity bingo. Specifically, charity bingo. Um, in what reality do you think you live in? Because we'll use Indiana here because it's the first one I see. Oh, there's Delaware as well and Colorado. You've got to be 21 to use casinos and slot machines. Slot machines are actually a game, if you guys didn't know. Let me pull this up. Is a slot machine a game? It is a gambling game. And I'm just gonna say, um, yeah, it's a game of chance for its customers. Okay, well, I think I proved my point because the rating system exists for a set reason. I have actually watched this video in its entirety, and he does actually state there is a rating system, but I'm gonna probably skip over that part because I just want to go over the next little clip real fast. But I just wanted to say there is legitimately a rating system for a serious reason. Nope, here we go. This is
A
hilarious to me.
game that is not for everyone is a game that shouldn't be made, in my opinion.
Call of Duty, oh, no, those are gone. That's gone. Those aren't for kids. Halo Reach, rated M, that's gone. Fable, oh, no, kids are playing that. Bioshock, that's gone. Mass Effect, sex and that. Dragon Age sucks. Tales of Vesperia, rated T, not for everyone. Modern Warfare, you're gone. Dragon Ball Z, oh, there's violence in that, not made for everyone. Fighting game, Infinite Warfare, yo, yeah, that's made for nobody. Advanced Warfare, that's made for even less people. Oh, God, oh, getting rid of all of this. All this. No more games. No more games. None of these are made for every single person on the planet. Gotta get rid of everything. Everything burns.
A game that's not for everyone isn't a game that should be made, in my opinion.
Okay, I think he's about to mention the actual like rating system. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna skip over that for now.
Are dog shit. Shitty graphics. Shitty graphics. Again, I'm new to the franchise. I had no idea what it is, and then
The problem is you're new to the
This.
franchise, yet you act like your opinions are far more important than everyone else's. It's like, no, your opinions are less important. That's what we're trying to tell you.
of course, when you go to the community as a new gamer, you would think, right?
Okay, going back to that. If you're doing a review on a game that you have never once seen, and I do mean never once seen the series before, like played it, you honestly should keep that in mind in your critique of a game. Because the game, you want to, if you're going to do that, you have to be objective. You have to look at the game's mechanics, you have to look at performance, graphics, audio glitches, any visual glitches of any kind. You have to look at, like, Fallout 4, for instance. It's had one glitch that has remained in the game pretty much since it came out, and that is in the conversation. If you have the fusion core, this is how I know how to trigger it. If you have the fusion core when you go to, what is the first town? I don't know. When you go to get Preston Garvey for the first time, or meet him for the first time, you go, if you go in, if you grab the fusion core before going upstairs to talk to him in Sturgis, there's a glitch where his audio line will actually stay on the screen most of the conversation. And it's a pretty big audio line. It's not like it plays on a loop, but that line will just stay throughout most of the conversation. And it's hilarious. But you have to use things like that in a review. You can't you can't critique the game for being oblately difficult in a game series that is legitimately known for being utterly brutal.
As a gamer, you'd have people being welcoming. I had maybe 5 people in the whole comment thread. Like, hey man, let's do those bosses together. I'll help you out. Only 5 people. The rest of them were like, oh, you're a clown. You've lost credibility. It's demeaning.
You would think people would be well.
I'm going to let his response play real fast because it is relevant, but I do want to point out he states that, but then offers no proof that he actually went to a comment thread.
Welcoming. I only told them that if you like this game, you probably don't have any friends or family. Why don't you like me? You pieces of shit, you're supposed to like me. Well, how are your people skills so bad? You don't know that, like, hey, insulting people doesn't make friends. You insult them after you become friends.
Because you're new to a game that's known, by the way, for being incredibly fucking difficult. And it's your...
You just helped disprove your review. The game is known for being difficult, and you proceeded to complain that it doesn't have an easy mode when no other game in this series has ever once had an easy mode, and has one of the, if I remember correctly, it's the top 10 largest fan bases, is the Souls series, which this game is part of. By doing a review on this game, you have, and this is an opinion, you have injected yourself into a community that you yourself did not know about in a hostile manner. I want to point this out because by injecting yourself into a hostile situation, because you have actively made it hostile, you may have caused a few more issues for yourself going forward. It would be like if you joined, I don't know, I don't know what game to comment on that's known for, like, generally being helpful. Um, I'll go with one that is, the community's a little mixed. EVE Online. For those of you that don't know, it's a free-to-play game that you can actually make real-world money from the game. You can also spend real-world money to get ships and so on and so forth. If you were to go into that game trying to make a real-life living off of, which people do that. They can make real money off of this game, so they go in, play it, and try to make a corporation. But it would be like going into that game and just oblately, like, being grossly incompetent and hostile. Like, you would have to be so hostile towards a lot of these people. Fans of a game series typically aren't inherently mad at people who don't understand. They will typically try to help you or talk to you about a situation. If you go into a situation with hostile intent, you're going to be met with hostility. It's just, it's a community thing for all games.
Your fault, not the dev's fault for not thinking of every single player of all kinds of walks of life. They don't care.
They don't care about you. This game isn't for you. Not every game should be made for everyone. He's the type of guy.
And that's a fair statement. Not every game should be forced to be made for everybody. By the way, I am sorry if about the constant clippets I'm showing. It's just I'm trying to add commentary to a lot of these statements and a lot of these things because I've done some research on the situation. I have my own personal opinion. I am going over Mischief and the Actman's videos first, at least these ones, and then I'm going to go to Quantum's to show another video, maybe two, where I'm going to take some clippets from. For the record, this is all being recorded in one go, as you can see from my actual timestamp below my cursor. Well, my actual clock. Um, but I am actively recording it this way, so you guys can see. I am not cutting parts of the video to make things look better for myself. I am actually cutting things to show points and to get as much context from the actual video that was in question, because the videos that were in question, because as seen, you go back before this one, which was 8 days ago now, which this stuff's been going on for weeks. There is nothing. Oh, 2 months, 3 months. Okay. 4 months. 5 months. So I'm now well before Elden Ring even came out. Well before it. And I can't find these videos on his channel because he himself has actively stated that he has taken them down. Which in turn means with them actually being taken down, it's kind of bad. Because in turn, you have removed people's ability to actually get full context of your original videos, which I have seen most of, but I have not seen all of. Because there are people who get banned for re-uploading things like that. They'll get their video taken down, they'll post it again. They'll get it taken down, they'll post it again. And then their account gets banned. I have seen parts of it because of that. And that is my whole basis for trying to find it and not having the actual video in my possession to be able to show people to actually prove points. Because they don't do an actual review. They literally will just play some music over it, or some people will just straight re-upload it, basic, flat out. But some people will put music over it. Putting music over something isn't transformative. Transformative is actually what makes most of what they're doing in the Fair Use Act. And I do state most of because there's some instances in some of the videos I've seen that's questionable, but as far as I've been able to find in my research is still fair use.
Want to be a part of this community, and so they just like self-sabotage.
It's a challenge, and it has to be for players who think every game is fucking easy, and if you aren't one of those players, then you are a scumbag, you filthy casual. At the end of the day, go kill yourself, man.
And that statement, that should not be your context. That is the full context for that statement, which has been actually pulled and used multiple times against him. The game isn't easy. I'm going to go back a couple seconds just so you can get that again.
Every game is fucking easy, and if you aren't one of those players, then you are a scumbag, you filthy casual.
If you could hear from the actual audio of that encounter right there, you will actually hear that none of it has been cut, clipped, or edited, because you can literally still hear his breathing in the same manner as well. His breathing doesn't change aside from him doing that, where he actively moves, making the tone shift. But
At the end of the day, go kill yourself, man.
plus, with the background, let's go back a little bit.
You're a scumbag, you filthy casual.
Blue,
At the end of the day, go kill yourself, man. At the
red.
end of the day, go kill yourself, man. At the end of the day, go kill yourself, man.
So,
why am I still getting hate?
but if you watch the background, you can actually see the red lines. There is almost no possible way to modify that background from, like, you would have to spend way more time and effort to modify the background to change the context of that than would actually be necessary to make the statement about this encounter here. His response is not pleasant, but let's skip over that.
Because you don't like the video game I like. It doesn't run that deep for me. At the end of the day, go kill yourself, man. It's a fucking game, and at the end of the day, it's a trash game. It's gonna stay on the shelf, and I stand by what I said 100%. At the end of the day, go kill yourself, man. I don't recommend.
For the record, those are clips from the previous encounter, because he's just continuously insulting the game and disproving nothing, and proving nothing. He's literally, with this response that, because Quantum, with the response that he made, has not actually done anything for or against himself here. He's done a couple things against himself, like the statements that he has made, calling people abuse victims and telling people to go kill themselves. Now, he could, in theory, have been implying them in a different way, like because the game, and I've watched Quantum's videos, and because the game actually does have the fact, or he did state that the game is essentially a death loop, he could be talking about going in game and killing himself, like he has stated in one of his newer videos. But that video has come out well over 2 weeks later. Well over 2 weeks later, with no mention of this. No mention of it up till now. I just want to point out, when you wait 2 weeks to justify yourself, when you're getting constant notifications about that statement, no, you either need to ignore that statement happened, completely forget it, don't deny it, don't confirm it. There's a couple things you can do to lessen the blow from this, but I digress.
And I think anyone who bought that game, frankly, likes a challenge. You're one of those diehard players. But for most people, it's not recommended. And that's the video.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that was bad.
That was terrible.
We're going to start with the good stuff. Elden Ring can be purchased at places like Amazon and really most online retailers and returned. That's a silver lining. And the best thing about this game,
He made a part 3 video.
He made a part 3? I may not have seen this in its entirety, because I don't remember the part 3.
On to your butts.
now here's what I'll say to prove that the game is terrible.
Oh, he's gonna prove it. Prove it.
But essentially,
So I don't remember there being the extra bit at the end here. I could be mistaken. I could have actually gotten off of it prematurely. So this bit is going to be a little less. This one might be a little more me pausing and talking, because this is, if it is new information, it's definitely going to be more of me pausing and talking. But for the time being, I'm just going to let this play.
it all resorts back to the same thing. You do not need an easy mode. or any kind of easier mode, or even a normal difficulty option. You know what? Screw difficulty options altogether. The game is designed to be ultra hard, ultra challenging. That's the purpose of the game. If you give it a difficulty option, all you're doing is destroying the game, and there's no point in playing it. You know?
Correction, I have seen this. I have actually seen this. I just didn't know it was a part 3.
What that means, guys? That means this is a dumpster fire. Just toss it in the trash.
I don't know how many times I'm gonna have to point to this video I did
Did not know there was a video called How to Ruin Dark Souls.
about difficulty options in Souls games, but I'm gonna continue doing it as long as dumbasses keep reiterating their same stupid points. Games can be made with multiple difficulty options in mind, or only one. It's up to the developer's intent. I don't see anybody talking shit about the original Super Mario Brothers. You move and jump. 2 buttons and a D-pad. It doesn't get much more accessible than that. But oh no, the original Super Mario Brothers doesn't have a difficulty option. It's so inaccessible to me. I can't play this. It's trash. Throw it in the...
Okay, I think I've seen this, or at least parts of it. So let's skip forward a little bit.
I'm raising an eyebrow to that one. Actually, the game was only delayed.
Oh, what'd I miss?
Doesn't get much more accessible than that. But oh no, the original Super Mario Brothers doesn't have a difficulty option. It's so inaccessible to me. I can't play this. It's trash. Throw it in the trash.
Let's talk graphics. The game was delayed 4 years, right?
The game?
His reaction is summed up mine perfectly when I actually saw the original video. I have actually seen the original video for the part 3. This I have seen, I just don't remember it. But that expression he made sums up my reaction to that perfectly. Just, what, 3 years? No, it wasn't.
It was delayed for 4 years? I'm raising an eyebrow to that one. Actually, the game was only delayed for a month.
So that was a fucking lie.
This game doesn't really break the mold of any open world game that has ever existed. It doesn't.
It absolutely does, because From Software...
I have to agree with the Actman here. It does actually break the mold quite a lot.
Has successfully taken their more linear enclosed areas and transitioned that formula to an open world seamlessly, better than most other current open world games to date. It absolutely succeeds and excels as an open world title.
There are no cinematic cutscenes that like razzle and dazzle and break the mold while also offering a super challenging experience.
I don't know what this is. That's some gold? Or I don't know how to pronounce his name.
No! What the fuck?
And I do want to bring this next part into attention. The game has a toxic player base.
This is where they always go.
Okay, you can't judge a game for the player base, especially when the game itself actually does have a way to play offline. The game is not inherently designed to be strictly multiplayer. You could say games like The Division has a player, like you could use their player base as an actual criticism to an extent, because you are not forced to do almost any mission. There are a handful of missions that require you to go in with at least one other person, because you have to be part of a team. But there is no, and I do mean no, point in which in Elden Ring you are required to do it multiplayer. You can use summon signs that are from NPCs to simulate multiplayer even in offline mode, which is how some people prefer to play Elden Ring, is in the offline mode or single player. You don't have to actually play with anyone else.
They flame the player base and then get flack, and they're like, well, this is evidence that they're toxic. I just told this fan base that the only reason you like this game is because you don't have friends or family.
No. You didn't hear that right. The game has a cult-like toxic player base. What does this mean? This means that the players of Elden Ring are likened to people who would rather drink blood from a cup than your neighbor next door.
Okay. Let's look this up real fast. You know what? Let's go to something like, let's just search up a dictionary real fast. Let's go dictionary.com so you can't say that this is biased using Google. Let's just search up cult. Okay, particular system of religious worship, especially with reference to its rites and ceremonies. An instance of great, okay, veneration of a person, idea, or thing, especially as manifested by a body of admirers. Okay. The object of such devotion, a group or sect bound together by veneration of the same thing, person, idea, etc. Okay. So, stating that a game is cult-like, there's something you're going to have to keep in mind with that statement. The object of such devotion. Let's just do something real fast. Devotion. Profound dedication, especially to religion. Earnest attachment to a cause, person, etc. Okay? An assignment, appropriation to any purpose, cause, etc., etc. Okay. And then this just goes more on about religion type things, which is irrelevant to the point at hand. So, you're describing players of Elden Ring as being a part, like, cult-like. There are some cult-like tendencies in about every game there is. But comparing it to drinking blood out of a cup is going a bit beyond valid. Just gonna say. I don't know about most people who play Elden Ring. I personally prefer to drink, you know, I'm just gonna use generic, but cola from, I don't know, a glass cup. And if someone offered me a, we'll say, goblet of blood, I would politely decline them and probably call the police on the fact that they have a goblet of blood. That may not go anywhere, but I would still be calling the police because a large quantity of blood has to be obtained from somewhere. And I don't have concrete information on where that's from.
They are very weird people.
You're weird for liking this game. Maybe you're
Weird. Damn. I have a medical condition like a lot of people. I like soda. I live in an apartment that I pay for. I pay bills, my taxes, and I go out in public and hang out with people. Now, I'll admit, I'm not the most normal of people, but I would far from say that just because I'm a fan of this game, I'm weird. Okay, let's Keep going.
And I stand by what I said 100%.
If you Google Quantum TV right now, or you look Quantum TV up on YouTube, rather, you will see a string of attack videos because of my opinion of the review that I issued out. In addition to the fact that when
That is partly because your opinions on the game were not objective, they were subjective. Um, I hope I'm using that correctly. Let me just make sure. Okay, let's use a random website here. We'll use a random website. Okay, let me go back because that clearly didn't want to load. Okay. Okay. Subjective most commonly means based on the personal perspective or preferences of a person. The subject who is observing something. In contrast, objective most commonly means not influenced by or based on a personal viewpoint, based on the analysis of an object of observation only. Your entire review was very subjective, not objective, as you are claiming. I wanted to make sure I was correct on that. But when you have a blatantly incorrect, uh, like incorrect statements made saying something is objective instead of subjective, if people are looking at Elden Ring objectively, they can't bring personal opinions going in. You have to take the game as it is, try it, and then make critiques based on how the game is. By making your review essentially state things like you don't like how there's nothing there, when there clearly is. There are open fields, things like that. Yes, the game does have some open fields. You can venture through. You can actually get lost in the scenery. And I don't mean like your character will blend in, though you can do that. There's actually an item to do that. And I've literally wandered aimlessly for like 2-3 hours just to see the beauty in the background of the game because of how nice it looks. So, from your opinion, because it's not a realistic, like I'm looking at a real person, you're stating that the graphics are bad. The graphics in this game, including the effects, are beautiful. So, yeah, no, I stand by my point. I'm going to go back a little bit just to go over this.
of the review that I issued out. In addition to the fact that when approached by what they call commentary, which is essentially gamers of a certain tier level that like to illegally download.
You're saying commentators are you stating that commentators of a certain tier level or commentators can only be a certain tier level? Because there's two very big differences, because I would like to point out some of the biggest YouTubers on the platform are commentators.
People's videos, re-upload them, and smack talk over them to own their review talking points. They call it fair use.
Yes, 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 the act man. Thumbs up. Perfect. He scared his dog. Oh, see right there. Insert joke warning. Quantum's comment there was so bad that it startled the dog. The dog is now staring confused at the camera. The links. The links of this. Okay. End joke warning. That dog really does look so confused right now. The dog's like, why?
That's all, folks. Bro.
Uh, that was perfect.
Oh, you can download videos off YouTube. It's not illegal.
I do just want to point this out. That is a very accurate statement. In fact, what's this? What's this? What's this? It is a download button directly on YouTube. It's not even like you have to use third-party sites anymore. And third-party sites, by the way, I do have to add, according to Google developer tools, are valid because of one thing. They use the Google development tools, which I could actually download in this video. And I'm going to, just to prove that point. Let's just go. Huh. Hmm. 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 Got it. Okay. Okay. Hmm. All seems legit. Hmm. This is nice. Now, Chrome developers. Okay. Okay. Let's go. Let's keep trying for a second. Okay. Okay. It's not bad. Okay, that just goes back to this tab. Let's see. Can you actually download them, or do you need to actually use them? Oh, there we go. Still on Google's website. Huh. What do you know? Let's download that real fast. Oh, my mistake. Downloading the Google Chrome developer tools. What do you know? It just straight opened, or straight downloaded Google Chrome. Which I might add, means they're already here. I'm sure I could access them if I cared enough. The dev tools are literally built into Chrome at this point. So, like, let's see. I don't know how to actually. I don't know how to open these. Let's see. No. Okay. But there is a way to access them, and I think it's like one of the. Let's check here. I don't know what that's doing. It's not stopping my video, so I'm going to call that good. Okay. There's F3, which for the record, that is a dev tool, technically. And that is the ability to, like, if I type the word dark, oh, it's highlighting the word dark on the screen because it found that word on the screen. I just wanted to point that out. But let's keep going.
They don't care how much of the video they're using. They completely ignore the 4 factors of fair use.
Okay, factors of fair use. Let me just read as much of these as I can real fast. The purpose and character of the use, including whether such use is of commercial nature or is for non-profit educational purposes. The nature of the copyrighted work. The amount and substantially the portion used related to copyrighted work as a whole. The effect of the use upon the potential market or value of the copyrighted work. For the record, this is a public platform. Public platform. When you actually look at how public platforms work, you're uploading your content to the internet for anyone to view. Anyone to view. And this isn't for profit. I mean, yes, some people have monetization on their videos, and they do make a profit, but that is because another thing of being fair use, because in one of those descriptions, I don't actually know the amount and substantially of the portion used related to copyright work. I believe that is what it falls under, but transformative. If you actually do transformative as one of the things you're doing, such as what I'm currently doing here, where I'm adding to the context, adding to what is going on, you can actually have stuff that falls under fair use. Fair use.
Used and publicly broadcasted on YouTube.
I don't know how someone could research fair use
Yep.
so much and still not understand what it is. You can critique someone's points and reviews. It's
Check
the
mark.
whole fucking point of fair use.
Check
if
mark.
I don't like a movie, I need to be able to show clips of the movie that I don't like.
Check mark.
And if I don't like your video, I should be able to show clips of your video that I don't like.
Check mark.
It's fair use. So this guy is like arguing copyright law in his Elden Ring review. He's become so detached from the actual game and mechanics that he's just going after people that are criticizing him. How is this a review?
Yep.
Why don't you think about like what you're making before you make it?
That statement. If you're going to go after a game, you need to go after the game. At the point you're at, this is technically part 3 of an Elden Ring review. How much are you talking about Elden Ring? I've heard you talk about the fan base. I've heard you talk about videos of people. Videos of people who actually reviewed your review and critiqued it, which is transformative, mind you.
And a lot of these smaller channels, 200 subscribers, 400 subscribers, 4,000 subscribers.
Let me just Wow. Wow. Your point. What is your point about subscriber count? Because wow.
Subscribers. That tier of lower YouTuber will still.
I'm sorry. 7.91k. Okay. I'm going to go back to his channel real fast just to show you something. For the record, before I did this, I actually watched it go from 150 to 151,000 because the drama that this has drug up, because it directly relates to him, skyrocketed him. And I do mean skyrocketed. It was a span of about 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks that this has been going on now. 10th to the 1st, because today is the 1st. 10th of last month. Probably even before that. But, yeah. Yeah. His channel exploded because of this. And let me go over to Quantum's channel real fast, just for some context. I don't know why you're putting a quantity marker on quality of YouTuber based on their subscribers. I know I'm not a great YouTuber. Quantum actually goes in depth with some of the stuff he says, as seen by him in one of his videos actually going over copyright laws, and it's this one right here. It's a very funny video to me, and I do mean very funny, because of the fact that Mischief disproves most things stated that he quotes that I have even confirmed myself most of them. Some of them I can't find exactly because I can't exactly find a lot of the like how the UK or Europe areas actually go about this. Plus, I don't know where specifically Mischief is in those areas. But it's funny to see how the situation has unfolded and how it has benefited Mischief greatly. Let's get that off my screen. But yeah, blatantly funny to me. Not gonna lie about it.
Steal videos. It's a known thing.
It's not stealing. It is actively covered under fair use because of the transformative properties of him actually going over it. For the record, I think the Act Man's actually going to comment on it, but because of Quantum doing this, Mischief actually took his original critique down because of like copyright reasons, and not even because he was violating them, but because he was being threatened about them. And when he actually commented on it, he said it's because he really just didn't want to deal with the situation. But at this point, it has gone far beyond him wanting to deal with it, and to this point, he now has to. And for the record, Mischief is a 16-year-old kid who's putting forth more logical and informative arguments about some of the points. Am I going to state who's in the right and wrong? No, I'm just stating Mischief is acting like an adult in this situation and putting forth informative arguments that are like, because of the knowledge he is putting forth, they are valid. And that needs to be looked at as a whole, is the information given. This can't just be a he said, she said argument. This has to be people looking things up. And there is not really proof which side is looking things up from where, but both sides are looking things up as he does state, and I might play the video where he states it, I might not. But he does actually state like that he's talked to lawyers and stuff, which if he has, good for him. He might actually have a good grasp of what's being said. I We don't have confirmation on that. He says it, but anyone who says something could be wrong. Like I could say I own the moon. Is it easy to disprove? Yes. Would it be hard for me to prove? Yes. If I say I live in Ohio, is that easy to disprove? Substantially harder. It all goes back to how believable the situation is and what can actually be proven. So, let's continue.
It's a huge problem. YouTube doesn't do anything about it. And if you tell them not to,
Let's just
channels, 200 subscribers, 400 subscribers, 4,000 subscribers, that tier of lower YouTuber will steal videos. It's a known thing. It's a huge problem. YouTube doesn't do anything about it. And if you tell them not to do that, they'll just say anything is fair use.
Oh, that's this tier.
Okay. So if I remember this correctly, it's just that is I have actually seen this be referenced. This right now is legitimately unedited, unedited, and it is a section of a TV show. Um, at this point, you are the lower tier YouTuber, and you actively have something on your channel that breaks what you are currently saying. You say YouTube isn't going to do anything against it. If I wanted to, or if anyone wanted to, they could actually go on there and mark that as copyright claimed content, not for themselves, but they could actually do it for someone else. They would have to go through a lot of They would have to go through a lot more steps to do so, but it is a thing they can do. And the reason I point this out is because that is from 3 years ago. And it's one of your highest viewed things. But let's continue. Let's just scroll forward. What is this?
That is absolutely fair use. I've seen Osmongold react to videos
Osmongold. That's how you actually pronounce that.
of mine, and he has genuinely good feedback to my video and elaborates further on the points that I make. That should be a medium that is encouraged, not censored, right?
I'm just here, like, reviewing a game once. Let me say that again. All the negative press you've seen on me is because I've reviewed a game once, didn't like.
This is the third video you've put on this matter, and it's now beyond that of the actual manner in which it was intended. It started off with you doing a review that was lackluster, and I will say this. The video itself was lackluster. It was kind of misleading, and though you did have some things like the frame rate you said something about, which from a quick Google search you can find out that is created by the shutter, like the light shuttering and or shadering and stuff like that. But at this point, your third review, you are actively talking about the community and people not at all related to the gameplay or the game. They might be related by playing it. And other than that, how are these people related to the game?
Like, it's some 16-year-old kid picked it up. Can't sum it up enough. The game is trash. The community is trash. Outside of 1%, ultimately speaking, the game is like literally a 0 out of a 10 to me. I could not possibly rate it the worst score I could possibly give it. I would light it on fire on camera if I still had it. At the end of the day, go kill yourself, man. You guys literally sound like abuse victims, right? And I stand by what I said 100%. But at the end of the day, Elden Ring is really quite genuinely, unobjectively, and objectively a bad game.
Not objectively, subjectively, because it is from your perspective. And at that is what I have to say about that statement. It is your perspective.
It is. It doesn't do anything new. Be creative, FromSoft. Start welcoming players. Start doing something outside of saying get
Don't
good.
listen to this guy.
Maybe
Don't
then
listen
you'll
to
get
anything
my
he says
dollars, but
from Soft.
until
Ignore him.
that point
Ignore
happens,
him. He's
enjoy
dumb. He's
all
stupid.
the
Don't
other
listen to
millions
him.
of
Blah
sales
blah
that you
blah
had
blah
from
blah.
other players
Blah blah
that
blah blah
would
blah
rather
blah
be
blah.
a
You're not
Okay,
hearing what he's saying. Blah,
this is
blah,
a bit
blah, blah, blah.
immature,
No game of the year.
but
No real champion. Just bare minimum. When real next-gen games.
I actually am curious how this is going to play out, because it does look like a genuinely good game. But
Come out, you'll be a footnote in a couple of months. Nobody will even talk about this game ever.
I'm sorry. People still talk about the first Dark Souls and Demon Souls. And Elden Ring goes beyond those. People also still talk about Bloodborne. Not as frequently, but I'm pretty sure Jacksepticeye's even done a series on it recently. So I'm curious how this game's not going to be talked about anymore.
Even mention it when we talk about the greats of this generation. That is a fact when the next generation cycle is said and done. Don't forget it, and remember I said it on this day, because these are hard facts that nobody's going to spit, but pretty much me, so.
J. Jonah Jameson.
You serious?
Yeah, so my advice is if you're reviewing a game, keep it about the game and don't.
Yep, if you're reviewing a game, keep it about the game. It is that simple. Okay, I am gonna get off this video because this itself is that's about the context for it. Now, let's go over to Quantum. let's go over one that was done 3 days ago because there's a phone call. For the record, it's not a phone call leak, but if you're posting a phone call that you recorded, that's not a leak. That's you posting a phone call you recorded. Um, let's do this one for this video.
Hey, I want to apologize.
Can I post this? If it's a static image, I don't know if I'm allowed to post that. So let's see. Does he actually like put anything in with? Does he put any like actual like evidence towards this stuff? No, he does not. Does not look like it. So let's go back. Let's go to. Let's see. If I just hover over this, it's not going to actually show me a photo. Okay. Okay. Let's go to this.
The Act Man has officially threatened to murder me.
Okay. We will look at this. We will look at both sides a bit more objectively. So keep that in mind when this is actually getting stated. And when I make my statements on this, I'm not going to go off what I've said in previous sections of this video. This is going to be its own section of the video. I might actually cut this up because I didn't realize I've already been on for over 2 hours. But let's keep going.
You heard that correctly. He has threatened to take my very life.
I am actually going to, on this, go to Twitter. Because it's just okay. Let's go to, how do you, let's see here. Just scroll through some random stuff. Let's just check to see if I've got this like easily accessible. So there is more context for that tweet. I do actually know that, so. Okay. I do have all of the people actually, I have all the people that I am actually quoting in this followed for the time being. So, scroll down. Okay. I can confirm the Quantum TV is threatening me and my family with doxing and violence. Even reached out to my mother saying doxing. Oh, even reached out to my mother saying we wouldn't want families to get hurt or involved in this. I wish I was fucking joking. If we see you, Quantum, we shoot on sight. Considering they both live on opposite sides of the country, that is a fair statement. Yeah, makes threat or things happen there. Let's click on this because there is a statement I do know he makes later in this video, and I do kind of want to. Yeah, I do want to actually scroll down and find it, but where is it? Do 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 do. What was it? F3? Don't know what just blinked at me. But let's just go with okay. Let's just hit the down arrow real fast. I don't see what that's hiding. Okay. I can confirm this. The Act Bro, for the record, actually is the Act Man's brother. Act Bros unite for the honor of Act Mother. That is, they are both talking about their mother. They're not talking about some third party. They're talking about their mother.
He deliberately lied so that he could come up with an excuse to threaten to murder me. Let's read his lie of a tweet. We'll put it up on the screen. Sit back and just read the trash he wrote, okay? I can confirm.
Okay. As I have just read this, let me actually go forward a little bit. In that post, it is more of, it appears from the context of the post, it actually does appear that he is not in the wrong with his statement. Because if he sees you, because he's not going to come after you, he's not going to go across the country to go after you. If he sees you, he's going to shoot on sight because you have like verbally threatened his mother. If you actually do watch one of Quantum's videos, he does have the recorded call actually there. He had to do it in such a way that it wouldn't dox the Act Man's mother, and it also wouldn't show Quantum's family because it's his home security footage. So it could be genuine, it could be fake. There's not really a way to prove it. There's no way to prove it because you can literally enter any phone number into your phone and actually mark that you've called, like, and then you can mark any phone number in your phone as whatever name you want. And then simply have that person call you to simulate a phone call. But when he actually says, he actually does have the full video clip. When he goes to talk to the Act Man's mom, there's a portion of the call that is actually sped up. And you can notice that because if you watch the timestamp at the top, you'll see it start moving much faster than the actual phone call. You can set YouTube to play at 0.75 playback speed, and you'll actually hear it with more definition in the voices because it's not sped up. Because if you speed something up, if you guys didn't know, the pitch of the voice typically goes up. Why that happens, I don't know. But I know it is a thing that actively happens. And for those of you that don't know, it is actually to find someone's name, yeah, or to find out where someone lives, things like that. You can typically Google search, find general relevant information, and then you can go on other websites and find anyone's address through paying most of the time. But there is a problem with that because you can also just go onto Yellow Pages, find a lot of people's names, call them. There is a major problem with that. And it can be a serious issue, especially when you're not directly contacting the person involved. But let's keep going.
Now, here's the problem with that. Act Man is not some small guy. The Act Man is somebody with 1.3 million subscribers.
What does the number of subscribers have to do with the actions? I do want to state that. He has once again, or he has gone to the subscriber count, which, okay.
On an international level. Anyone from all around the world has access to his content.
Okay. Anyone around the world has access to my content. anyone around the world has access to my content. Me with my, you know, lowly subscriber count of 17. Granted, I know most of those people by name because my subscriber count is so small. I actually do have knowledge of who my subscribers are.
It's always a
Nope, go back to that. I clicked on the wrong video. I'm gonna pull this one over here. But I do want to go over that because your subscribers quantity doesn't matter. Any subscriber could be an international subscriber, and anyone around the world has access to your video no matter what. If you post it on YouTube, as long as a country does not ban it, I can tell you for a fact, I have a series that I have posted on YouTube. People in Germany can't watch because of a copyright claim that I didn't dispute. It's not a strike, it was just a claim on the music. And because I don't want to remove that music from my video if it does ever end up generating ad revenue, which I highly doubt, I don't get money from it. The musician will because it's their music. But I do want to state that because copyright claiming someone and trying to get them to remove something are two different. They're different things.
And he has fans even in the state where I live.
Yet again, I just want to point out, I know, I know about, I know where 5 of my fans live.
So much, even if it's not him doing it directly, he can absolutely and has motivated some absolutely violent people to agree with his life.
Actually, on his Discord server, he's actually stated people should not do that. So has Mischief, actually. They both stated that they don't want people taking actions against this man. And you can't physically control another person. Once someone has stated, if you guys don't know, if you state that you don't want something to happen and people go ahead and do it, and you have expressly said you do not want people taking action against someone and they go out of their way to do it, that is not on them anymore. Like, they have expressly stated it. Let's keep going.
Logic here. You see, he's literally incited a mob. He's basically on Twitter, not even basically, word for word.
The Act Bro one. You know, his biological brother.
Says, Act Bros unite for honor of Act Mother. That sounds like a dying terroristic call you'd shout.
Yes. Protect my mom! As you run in. That is without a doubt peak performance of brain usage.
Out before you do something fucked up, okay? I don't know what the hell that's all about, but that's some weird language going on there.
Okay.
And then took it to another level. Now let's be very clear as to why he's doing all of this. He's doing this because in his heart of hearts, he believes I need to be removed off of the platform.
Okay. At this point, I'm not going to make a comment about this statement. Yes, the Act Man does believe he should be taken off the platform. In fact, he actually has been taken off the platform before. Not with the Quantum TV moniker, but he had another YouTube channel at one point where he literally did most of his videos, if not all of them, if I remember correctly, with a Deadpool mask on. And his channel was actually taken down for hate speech and bigotry. For context here. So, I don't quite know what to state about this.
And to do so, there is no low he is willing to stoop to, or is unwilling, rather, to stoop to. And we're seeing it here. This is a personal vendetta. This is a vindictive, manipulative tactic that he's using to fool everyone around him into attacking one person.
He has actually instructed people not to attack you. If this happens to cross your line of sight, which I highly doubt it will, but neither person has incited anyone to attack you. And I would like to, and this is why I want to do an interview with you completely uncut, aside from any personal information that you would prefer be hidden. And I would ask the same of Mischief and the Act Man. Because, like stated, I have made contact with Mischief and Quantum about wanting to do an actual interview with them. Because all I have is what they post to go off of. And it's kind of, it can be misleading because, as known, videos can be cut. They can be modified. I actually have one spot in this video I'm going to modify myself because it showed some personal information that I am going to be getting rid of before I actually post this. And even if I cut this up, I'm going to because it was literally on my Twitter account, which I have actually like already hidden it on Twitter. But I'm going to make like I'm going to get like a photo or something that's not going to be able to be copyright claimed, and I'm just going to stick it over what I'm trying to hide temporarily. And it's not even like a hiding it, it's literally because it promoted a breach of privacy where I've actually like given away personal information to someone in a private message. Just like I won't show my messages to Quantum or Mischief because, again, it shows some private information that, though not enough to get me injured, is enough to warrant me feeling like I would be breached of privacy if it were to be leaked to the public. Which, in both messages, I have actually stated that I do want, if we go through with an interview, I do want my email address itself blocked out of the email. And if they would prefer, I would do the same, which is another reason I'm not showing the emails, because those are, that it's like my private email address and it is their business inquiry email addresses, like the contact us way to get a hold of them. And I want to be professional about this.
Quantum TV, this guy right here.
And you're talking about yourself in third person. Way to go.
Why is he doing that, you might ask? Well, let's go over a series of events here, okay? Give you the full picture of what's truly happening, okay?
So, I am pausing here because I really do want you guys to listen to his interpretation of the events. And I am going to state his interpretation because I'm, like I said, I'm going to try to be objective, but it can still cross over to subjective while I'm doing this because I do know a lot more about the situation than I do know a lot more about the situation because I've done a lot of research into the situation before I've made this video, which is partly why this video has taken so long to actually come out. But let's keep going.
Okay? I called his mother at 2:32 my time. Now,
Doesn't actually show the real time. If I remember correctly, does he put it in this? Yeah, he actually puts it in this video. So I might be able to show you what I'm talking
I
about.
won't say where he is, but what I will say is that's 11:32 his time. Now, none of this is relevant if you don't know what's going on.
For the record, those of you that don't know, the Act Man has not actually made his state public. You can find it fairly easily. Um, I actually know the state in which he lives, and the town in which he's registered to live in. But I'm gonna say that took very minimal effort to find. because finding the state someone lives in is very minimal. And then if you can literally do some very simple things from there to actually find the town. Whole reason I did this, for the record, nothing malicious. It was just one of the ways I was going to contact the Act Man about an interview. I have not found his email to contact him yet, so I was trying to do it that way. But I'm going to play this part and kind of let you guys see the situation a bit.
He reaches out via Discord, supposedly willing to have a conversation. When that conversation didn't get the result that he was looking for, he then basically plastered, "Hey, I'm just here to let you know the ramifications." He really loves talking like he's some big hot shot that can really do a whole lot. And in the end, it's really just ego.
I just want to point out the fact he is stating that it is just ego isn't accurate. Going on the accuracy standpoint, the reason, and I don't have it handy, but there are screenshots floating out there. I don't actually have access to at the time. Maybe did he post it on this? If he posted it on here, I might be able to find it. Let's check. Let's scroll, 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 scroll. Okay, there's that, there's that. Where he did try to actually get. Okay, I've gone well past it at this point, so it's not on here. But there are actually things. Oh, 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 oh. Is this what I'm thinking of? You're free to ask your questions. I don't really have questions, I just wanted to inform you of the situation. Speak. Speak. What did you want to inform me about? You have the floor. Okay. I can't actually see his response, but since you can't speak, here's your situation. You stole a deleted, copyrighted video. For one, once you delete a video from YouTube or any platform, that does not immediately make your point stronger. In fact, it actually hinders you in the ability to prove that it is a copyrighted thing. Once you remove something, it kind of goes a little lackluster in your defense. I don't care about your opinion to take, and definitely don't care. Or don't care about your opinion on my take, and definitely don't care about your empty threats regarding things none of you understand. I'm going to keep my cursor here for a second. I want to go over this statement because, for those of you that don't know, I can't see the date in which this was done, but this honestly gets my attention a bit because the Act Man actually does know a bit about what he's talking about. He's done some research into this. He's been on YouTube. Whether it's as long or not doesn't really matter. It's the fact he's went through some of these processes a bit more times than you have. I'm just going to take a guess since he does like reviews of people's reviews such as hot takes. He's had to go through more things regarding the fair use policies. So he understands how they work a bit better than you do. I do not care about your re-uploading stolen content you acquired from Mischief. Actually, and I do know this, the Act Man actually got a hold of Mischief after some of this stuff happened. Some of it. This, I don't know. But I know for a fact he did get a hold of Mischief after the fact of uh, After he did his hot takes video, he actually did contact Mischief, not before. If this is your livelihood, you should know the copyright starts the moment a body of work is published. Technically, copyright starts the moment you start recording it. But I digress. You didn't have permission to post my removed content. He didn't post it. He posted sections of it for a review of your review. Yet again, falls under the transformative properties of such things in the Fair Use Act, or Fair Use terminology. As the owner, I would like the copyrighted videos removed. Um, you have to actually get a copyright claim to stick. That's why I'm looking into other options against your piracy. Okay, yet again, YouTube straight up has a delete button. This would not fall under piracy. Piracy is downloading things illegally. You can actively download anything legally through YouTube's own website. Like I've said, YouTube support advised me that filing a copyright claim against you was the best way to remove the re-uploaded content. Okay, you would have to have contacted them first, and they would never advise you to copyright claim something. They'll let you know if they think someone has by their little bots that actually do search for copyrighted content that, I will add, do have holes in them that will cause people to sometimes not get caught for it. This is not a false flag, or it's not a false flag. It's YouTube support recommendation. I'm exploring all options against your behavior here. If you're a professional, act like it. If this is your livelihood, protect it. He actually is. He is protected. He doesn't have to actively go out of his way to protect his livelihood. He's actively protecting his livelihood by standing against what you're doing right now. You may be used to stealing from others, but I will fight you on this. What is stealing? What is he doing that is stealing? Especially since I hold a legitimate federal copyright. Uh, if I don't want my work published, you have no legal rights to my work. Seeing how you file shared my deleted video, you took a huge risk. Actually, no he didn't. Not by any means. He did not. Okay, he did send him this. Let's. The long and short of it, Quantum, you have zero case. My video is undoubtedly fair use, as are other videos many people have made on you. I think your ego is massively out of control, and that's where this is all coming from. You have no idea what you would be in for if you were to pursue this further. For your sake, you need to let this go and move on. I'm not saying this to intimidate or threaten you. I'm saying this because you seem to honestly believe you are in the right. Abusing the copyright system on YouTube is grounds for potential channel termination. You have been doing that quite a lot. Among the other things / evidence we have on you, I think channel termination is very likely possible, should I decide to go that route. If you could somehow find a lawyer dumb enough to take this case, any competent judge would throw out throw the case out. If it by some miracle of God you manage to take me to trial, I would win everything. The entire internet would be on my side, and you would continue making a fool of yourself. The amount of money you would have to waste to even get to the point would be immense. Get to this point would be immense. You have no case. You are wrong about fair use. You don't understand it. Your narcissism runs so deep, you are blind to that. Laws don't change depending on what Quantum TV thinks about them, no matter how great, amazing, and perfect you are. Your claims will not hold up. The entire internet is already against you. Any further action you decide to pursue will only hurt you in the end. It will be a complete waste of time that drains your bank account and potentially destroys any semblance of a community you have on the internet. That's the reality of the situation. If you want to charge right ahead down that path, then I'll see you in court. And for the context being, that is an actual thing. Yeah, it was YouTube support that recommended me. I do love this. Essentially, you realize YouTube support advised on copyright claims to remove re-uploads failed me, and as a result, I'm being labeled as a copyright abuser. Um, they don't advise you. They simply don't advise you to copyright people. That's not how YouTube works, in the slightest.
I was just trying to let you know the ramifications. I'll clean your clock. You better be prepared to sell that red wedding ring on your fucking finger.
I am going to go to the video where that is stated so that you guys have a little bit
It's
more
always a great
context
feeling.
about that. Let's see.
Hi everyone,
Let's... Is it here?
up guys? Give it up for this laughing stock clown man out here providing quality entertainment. You see, we've been able to elevate the voices of the people you tried to silence, coerce.
Actually, yes. Mischief is now expanding, as I've shown earlier in this. He is expanding immensely because of this situation.
And threaten. Hopefully the YouTube community can come together and demand YouTube implement better systems in place so that content creators that abuse this system are much more heavily
Fuck Elden Ring. Fuck their players. I'm not sorry. I don't like Elden Ring players. They're nasty people.
None of this has anything to do with legitimacy. Quantum isn't using this controversy to grow his channel, and this has nothing to do with Elden Ring. This has everything to do with a disorder. Ego. Listen very closely once more.
Okay. If I remember correctly, this is the end of the, like, this is the context that I was pointing to.
I will get your YouTube channel deleted. You have committed crimes in no unmistaken...
Stop! You violated the law.
I have contacts at YouTube. I have already messaged. We have a meeting set up. You have demonstrated a history of hate speech, targeted harassment, false claims. You have apologized for exactly none of it. You have made no effort to correct, address, or even admit a single mistake you've made. You make YouTube a worse place for everyone.
Frankly, I'm witnessing somebody who has no idea of how, like, legal systems work, and frankly, they're making YouTube a place for anybody else, okay?
There is one thing no community on YouTube tolerates, and it's a copyright abuser.
I don't care about your...
By the way, the one who said is a copyright abuser, that is Mischief. That is the full video for that little line. I don't know all of the other. The context for that one is this video. It is actually very funny. I do recommend watching it for, like, the context behind that, because he doesn't just insult someone, he actually brings forth points to it.
Opinion, dude. I care about the fact that you're nuts and you're toxic to this community.
Yeah, this is like the Jussie Smollett of fucking YouTube. 100%. That's the perfect description for this guy.
suggest you make peace with whatever content you wish to publish on your channel before you see this screen again. And Quantum, you're gonna see it again.
So he does state that he will see it again because, like said previously, his last channel was actually removed from YouTube because of the way he was acting.
Not be able to offer a cure for narcissism, but hopefully by shattering this false reality and sense of yourself, then perhaps maybe whatever spell you're under, you will wake up from it. It's such a shame. And I was planning on asking you about this new TV I was interested in.
Okay, so it's not there. Let's see. He does it somewhere, and I can't remember. Okay, false claims. Start of the rabbit hole. When we started quantum attacks, down the rabbit hole. Is it this?
You see, so Quantum consistently references the copyright ID tool he used to false flag people.
That I'm a false copyright flagger because some 16-year-old got picked up on the copyright ID tool, which is YouTube's algorithm. He being a little fuck that likes to take people's video and use them and talk about them and say whatever they want. And I fucking use the tool the way it's supposed to be used. I'm a abuser.
You can use the YouTube
Oh
algorithm
no, it's Alex.
to actually go ahead and copyright people, but the thing is, you shouldn't. That's the problem.
Like I said, YouTube support advised me that filing a copyright...
Okay, and here's that tweet again. So let's... I gotta find that specific clip, because there is a clip where he just straight up says something about the situation, and it is actually a very good clip. If I can't find it, is it in this section?
Alright, I'm recording this after the fact just to give a fair warning. A lot of the stuff I'll be showing and reading in this video is pretty offensive. None of it comes from me, and trust me, it all has a point. So, here we are. You take the blue pill, you click off this video, go to bed, wake up, everything's the same.
4,000 subscribers.
Okay,
That
here we
tier
go.
Of lower YouTuber, amazing. Let's give a shout out to Mischief.
You know, that is a great idea, Quantum. For once...
And this is the point in this where actually Mischief's subscriber base exploded. And I do mean exploded. Within 1 week, he went from 7,000 to 151,000.
We agree on something. Everybody, go subscribe to Mischief. Let's get him to more subscribers than Quantum TV so we can see who the real lower tier YouTuber is. Wouldn't that be amazing? Subscribe to Mischief for justice. Never in your wildest dreams did you expect someone like Mischief to have a powerful ally like me. But against scum like you, I'll always try to be there to clean up the street.
I think this shit works. It doesn't work.
Like, if you don't want to get quote-unquote bullied, keep your opinions to yourself. Maybe uploading them to a public website is probably not the best idea.
Griffin makes a good point. If you upload something to YouTube, anyone can criticize it or talk about it. You post
I really
want to
find this.
That's the end of it.
Okay. Well, I'll leave it on that matter.
Your house, your car, your keys, your kids, your...
If I remember correctly, though, he did not mention your car, your keys, or your kids, but he did mention he will make you sell the wedding ring on your finger, which I do have to state isn't necessarily legal, but it could, if you go through the way that, if you try going through things the way that Quantum is trying to, it could end up with a mass lawsuit against him, like a massive lawsuit against him. And it could end up with him owing enough money that he might have to. Not say he wasn't saying that to be strictly malicious. But let's skip past the phone call because okay. Actually, let's go to right before this. I'm going to slow this down and turn the volume all the way up. Let's slow it down. this.
I just want him to leave me alone. Your son is causing trouble for me, and that's the
Let's
whole
just
reason
let
for
some
this
of this
call.
play so that you guys can see this.
And I want the trouble to stop and him to go back to making his video game videos, leaving me and my income and my livelihood and what we do in the real world away from what he's trying to drag in with all these claims of homophobia and a string of stuff. You can just go ahead and ask him. Now, again, it's understandable that they think that they understand some things, but the level he's taking it to is a bit extreme. And that's why I'm calling. Yeah, I just want him to leave me alone. He's harassing the hell out of me, really, if I'm being quite honest with you, ma'am. And I think at this point, it's to a point where if he doesn't stop, my only choice would be legal action. And I don't really like to go that route. Not that I don't have the ability to go that route. I'd rather not drag a family through mud given the times and the current status of the world. You understand what I mean? Like,
Okay, there is that instance, but there's also... See, is it around that one? I do have it slowed down right now, though, so... Let's go normal speed for a minute.
and this is the number, so you can, of course, call back and Quantum TV as the contact if need be. My name, at this point in time, I'm pretty sure he already has that information through copyright claims.
But he doesn't. If you actually look at the copyright claim works, the original title of the video is incorrectly labeled first. The second thing I want to mention is the fact that he actually did not put his name in the copyright claim. And he actually has filled out the form generally incorrectly. So. But yeah.
And that's why I'm calling. Yeah, I just want him to leave me alone. He's harassing the hell out of me.
Okay.
That I said repetitively, that in 2018 I've been hacked on a.
Okay, well, I'm glad I jumped to here. If you've been hacked, that's one thing. But some of your statements from your hacked accounts actually line up perfectly with other things that you have said in videos. For instance, there is actually a video you have removed that was posted, and it was about The Last of Us and The Last of Us 2. I don't know if that's the actual what the video is actually about, but the comment in particular was about those two things. And let me see if I can find that rapidly or in a reasonable manner. Is it this one or is this one? No, it's either this one or this one. Let's check. Does he have... Okay, it might
Rich
be
from
this one.
Review Tech USA is
A plus elder that we are now calling him
Let's...
a pedophile. To be heroes to his. Take a look at this breed.
Which is Lenny Kravitz's daughter, like a half-breed, basically.
Okay. Let's jump forward.
And something else is telling me that one of your main complaints in regards to Horizon Forbidden West, in at the time of making this video, undeleted video, shouldn't is a video he still has up.
For the record, that one I'm skipping over because that is genuinely bad.
Be found throughout his time on the platform. Just look at his Forza Horizon 5 review. Unfortunately, I was unable to get footage from it as he's taken down the video, and I couldn't find it
Okay,
from his
here's
Twitter.
here's The Last of Us.
in the replies to Naughty Dog's accounts could be seen on his YouTube channel, as he got upset over Ellie being a lesbian before he took the videos down to hide the evidence. In fact, he went as far as insinuating Naughty Dog were pedophiles as well. You know, I'm starting to notice a pattern with this guy.
You see games like The Last of Us Part 2,
Okay, and I am showing this because it is actually very important for the things I'm stating. He talks about his account being hacked. If you see a lot of the hacked things, it'll literally, some of them are really sexist, racist, and bigoted, to put it in frank terms. Um, it's pretty bad.
Last of Us Part 1. Seriously, in The Last of Us Part 1, their DLC Left Behind, that should have told you what The Last of Us Part 2 had in store for you. They literally sexualized minors.
In no way, shape, or form did they sexualize minors. If you have, we'll say, two 10-year-olds sitting at a playground in a movie, and they do their little cute kiss, is that sexualizing them? No. It's adorable because two kids like each other. But he is stating that they sexualized these girls. I have played the game. In no way, shape, or form did I see this as being sexualizing Ellie. No way, shape, or form. And I can attest that the game in no way makes that apparent. To emphasize that, you would actually have to pull way more information from a game, or from the game, than is actively there. There is not enough evidence in the game to be able to state there's not enough evidence in the game to state that they were sexualizing Ellie or her girlfriend.
On a mass scale. Had to install moderators. It was an ugly thing where I lost a lot of accounts, multiple devices and stuff like that, and these were main accounts. A YouTube channel, all kinds of shit. And you have
Your YouTube channel was hacked. Okay. I just want to state, you state your YouTube channel was hacked. Even with your YouTube channel being hacked, you yourself have stated these things, verbally said them. I still want to have an actual interview and get the full context, but this right here is really sets the framework for this. This could go very bad if I do get an interview, but it could go very good. I could get some light into what is going on in his mind during this. I don't actually know if I'm going to I don't even know if I'm going to finish his video, but I'm going to try doing some cuts. This one I've done a bit more stops because some of the stuff really does need explained, some of it needs pointed out. This is honestly things like this affect someone very bad. You are denying claims that you verbally said, which is again an issue. You state that you are the #1 brand in honesty. I just want to point that out. I would love to hear from you. If you happen to see this, I have sent you an email and I have put my actual gamer tag in it as well. It has my email address, so you can contact me. So it's not like I'm just being come find me. No, I legitimately have a way for you to contact me, and I have sent it to you. I would love to get your opinion and actually have a conversation with you, civilized conversation about the situation and about what kind of your thoughts and approaches have been. without, because I know in one of your videos you stated you have talked to a private detective, I'd like to talk to you and essentially cover everything you can without breaking or without stating any of the private information you've given them, any of that kind of stuff. Because there's a lot you can state that doesn't get stated in your videos. There are some things you could do that you haven't mentioned, and I'd like to see your opinions. I'd like to hear your opinions, see your thoughts on it, but I digress.
To work to get those things back one by one, because that's what happens when somebody wants to hack you, impersonate you, type things out, and let's just pretend for.
Okay, and that right there. You actively stated they typed things out. What about the verbal? And I also want to point out, I do know how hard it is to get accounts back. I actually, within the past 2 years, have actually had to get most of my accounts back because someone hacked my Google and changed my passwords for a lot of stuff. There are some accounts I still don't have back. I simply got a hold of them, let them know someone had hacked my email address, so they got into my Google account, and simply changed my passwords, and I showed them the proof, the steps I went through, and they just straight removed my accounts. They deleted them, and I recreated them from scratch within a very short period of time, actually. It took me all of like a month. The YouTube or the Google one took quite a bit longer to get back, and that's what delayed it as long as it did.
For a second here, okay? That I'm this horrible human being. Why on God's green earth, if you genuinely felt that way, would you not report me to the authorities, right? Because let's be real,
So, for those of you that don't know, when it comes to reporting people to the authorities or police, you cannot actually state in public or in any public forum that you contacted the police. They tell you, do not, they notify you to not talk about it. So it's not like you can be like, hey, just so you know, I reported you to the police. No, you can't do that. You just can't.
man is saying that I am threatening a woman here, okay? This is a serious crime. He was so enraged by it, he never reported it to the police once.
You have no proof
Wouldn't
of that.
That make news? That would make.
So I have actually watched something, and Mischief has actually commented on that. He has actually been contacted by news outlets about it. And some official news channels have actually followed him. And I have looked through some of his followers to try to check this. I have done my research on both sides of this. That is completely unfounded. It hasn't made news because, well, as far as the world is concerned, this is a pretty small scale problem, for one. Oh my god, someone's abusing copyright on YouTube. Roll in Fox and CNN. No, they're not going to do that. It might be like a small portion of the news, or they might make a snide comment about it. Side comment, snide. I don't know the actual thing about that, but they might make a comment about it. They might not do a full-on such and such YouTuber did this. No, they're just not going to. If they do, my guy, you may have dug yourself into a rabbit hole you will never get out of. You might have people at your local grocery store throwing stuff at you if you go through with this the way that you seem to intend to.
News, celebrity YouTuber has his family threatened by another YouTuber.
Celebrity. Celebrity? Okay, the Act Man has more views on this video then you have subscribers. Review Techland or Review Tech USA has more views on this video than you have subscribers. You are not a celebrity. Markiplier has more views on this. He almost has 100 times more views than you have subscribers. What are you talking about, celebrity?
That would make the news. Funny how that didn't happen, right? Because no threats were lodged. Funny how on his very same Twitter, his own fans asked him, hey, can you show us exactly what he said?
I do want to comment on this because I have actually seen this. May we see screenshots from actually messaging your mother this? Okay. It was a phone call. It was a phone call.
Never responded because there is no text message correspondent. It never happened. It was only one phone call for me ever, and one phone call from his mother back to me.
That is on recording. Now, that is something I do want to point out. That is on recording. You could have just simply not put another one. That could be all there is. And it could be that you never called her, or you simply like didn't call her and show the recording of it in general. That could be a completely different situation. Because you have to remember, everyone, that you can't hear the other side of the phone call. You can actually, with most phones, record phone calls. And speaking of recording a phone call, if I am not mistaken, Florida law states that you, with the two-party consent law, you actually have to have their permission. And where Quantum is in Florida, that actually makes it illegal for him to record someone else's phone call without their consent. How that works across state lines, I'm not 100% sure, but I do know that that is illegal in his state.
That's all that happened. But he felt so threatened by the fact that I'm not backing down that was the moment he just made up in his mind. We're going to lie, we're going to manipulate everyone, and we're going
And actually, that is paraphrasing, but it is still what is being said. I kind of skipped past it, but I wish I could find some of these things because I don't want to sit here and record the whole thing because I am doing this all in one take. Um, I'm doing this all in one take so I don't lose my train of thought as much because if I do it in multiple takes, I'm gonna reiterate so much stuff that happens or that I've said. And I don't want to do that for the sake of making this simple.
to give a call to action.
With his brother. It's a call of action with his brother, and not even a call to harmful action. It's uniting for the honor of their mother.
All act bros unite for my mother's honor.
Let's skip
And
forward.
then in the end, they do all this to justify threatening to murder you by saying, if we see you on sight, we shoot you. When they know I've never threatened to do anything, I just wanted to talk. It's a justification like this where now it has emboldened his fans to have similar violent gun violence language against me.
Actually, and I do want to go over this because I think in this video he does state that he has tried getting a hold of him, which, for the record, whether he has or hasn't, he has actively shown proof that he was messaging on Discord with the Act Man, and then goes a step further than that. Yes, he was messaging with the Act Man on on Discord. In one of Mischief's live streams, because I have watched them just for more context about the situation. They actually sit and wait about. There's a 30-minute span where they're trying to get him to join the Discord call. And in that same Discord, he actually was there. They did verify that it was his account. Yes, there were people impersonating him showing up, and once they realized that, because with just a name, you can't verify every single person in your chat 100% of the time. With them verifying that, they have confirmed that it was him. And they did show proof of that. They would open the chat, click on his name, and it pulled up his YouTube. That is how simple it is to verify some people on YouTube streaming. And they did verify he was messaging them. They were actively trying to get him to join the call. Multiple ways. They even went to his Discord server so that he didn't feel like he was going to click on any links that would do anything to his computer or anything like that, or his phone. They joined his Discord, so there was proof that they didn't do anything to or against him, or weren't going to. And then they continued trying to get him to join. He never did. He stated at one point, though, like on record, he did state he was driving, and then they asked for a time frame. He just stopped responding because I don't know. If he was driving, he had been driving that whole time messaging them, which, if I'm not mistaken, is actually illegal in about every state. So that brings up a whole other issue. Let's jump forward a bit more.
Context is death in a game. And everybody was responding. It doesn't mean when they don't jump me on these kinds of calls.
For the record, Quartering didn't actually say anything against him until after this.
And narratives. Let me say this again. Were you there? I don't care what you think you know. Answer the question. Were you there? Did you see me with your own eyes type it? Did you snap a fucking picture of me typing the shit out that you say I said? Do you have video proof of me saying anything against these people that you... They want to bully, and they think this...
In fact, he went as far as insinuating Naughty Dog were pedophiles as well. You know, I'm starting to notice a pattern with this guy.
You see games like The Last of Us Part 2, The Last of Us Part 1. I mean, seriously, in The Last of Us Part 1, their DLC Left Behind, that should have told you what The Last of Us Part 2 had in store for you. I mean, they literally sexualized minors, literally underage children, and tried to build some romance love story around that. So you might want to reconsider your current position if you are magically shocked at the direction of Neil Druckmann.
Again,
Okay, Mischief said it best. Again? What did you just say?
You think you know. Answer the question. Were you there? Did you see me with your own eyes type it? Did you snap a fucking picture of me typing the shit out that you say I said? Do you have video proof of me saying anything against these people?
Yes.
That you claim I'm saying something against?
Yes.
Because the only thing I see popping up right now is them trying to say that I said, go kill yourself. Because I was receiving a barrage of hateful, demeaning comments about me saying Elden Ring is a garbage game that is an endless death loop.
Yes, actually. I just played a video clip of you insulting people that in some of the tweets you said were from Hacked. It matched up almost perfectly with some of the tweets you yourself have deleted and taken down, which I cannot access because you have since removed that account. And that's part of the reason I'm not actually using his Twitter as proof for some things, because he has removed it. He actually removed it in, I believe, one of Techland's videos while Techland was streaming. Like, just straight removed it.
It's a death loop. We've established...
And you're Barbara Streisand.
That in the beginning of that video that they chop up 1,000,001 times.
Nope, actually that section itself was not chopped in any way, shape, or form. And And not necessarily, the video isn't necessarily chopped up. They have cuts in it because, how the fair use like policies actually work. So they can't play it back to back. It's kind of why I'm skipping around a little bit. Some people actually will play things back to back because they have the volume low enough that they can talk over it. As I have proven in some of my recordings, my mic, even though it is good, if I turn my games and stuff up too much, you can't hear me, which would be an implication of them violating the thing, because if they can't be heard over you, then there's actually another issue at play here. But let's keep going for a minute.
It was said multiple times, okay? And the whole idea of, at the end of the day, if you want to go do that, go kill yourself, man. If you want to go do that in the game, go kill yourself. That's what we're talking about.
Okay, let's go back to the other video for just a moment. So I can reiterate,
feeling when something you adore is getting the attention and love you believe it deserves. For me, that's been Elden Ring. The community
4 years, right?
The game was delayed for 4 years?
Your base.
This is where
You didn't hear that right. Players of Elden Ring are likened to people who would rather drink blood from a cup than your neighbor next door. They are very weird people.
You're weird for liking this game. Maybe your experience with these people has something to do with what you've said to them.
At the end of the day, go kill yourself, man. And I stand by what I said 100%.
Okay, so it was before that. Was it when he was fighting this boss?
Like,
I
hey,
think
man,
so.
Let's do those bosses together. I'll help you out. Only 5 people. The rest of them were like,
Who?
Oh, you're a clown. You've lost credibility. It's demeaning.
You would think people would be welcoming. I only told them that if you like this game, you probably don't have any friends or family. Why don't you like?
By the way, for being incredibly fucking difficult, and it's your fault, not the dev's fault for not thinking of every single player of all kinds of walks of life. They don't care.
They don't care about you. This game isn't for you. Not every game should be made for everyone. He's the type of guy that, you know those dudes when they're talking
Just letting
to a
this
woman
play for a
and they're
minute.
like, wow, I think you're so pretty and hot, and they reject him, and he's like, fuck you, bitch, you're so ugly, I hate you. It's like, this is how they deal with not being included or not being accepted by people or a community or someone.
Yes.
It's that, like, rejection of, like, I didn't like you anyways. I didn't want to be a part of this community. And so they just, like, self-sabotage.
It's a challenge, and it has to be for players who think every game is fucking easy, and if you aren't one of those players, then you are a scumbag, you filthy casual.
At the end of the day, go kill yourself, man. At the end of the day, go kill yourself, man. At the end of the day, go kill yourself, man.
Like I've stated previously, if you actually watch the line, you can see the blue line come down, hit, and come up at the exact same rate the whole time it's leading up to that statement, meaning the audio was not cut at all. Let me just go back a couple seconds so you can hear that again.
If you aren't one of those players, then you are a scumbag, you filthy casual.
At the end of the day, go kill yourself, man.
Okay, if you are not, okay, you filthy casual. He's talking about the fan base here and talking about how they didn't accept him. He's not talking about the gameplay, as he states. Let me just...
It was said multiple times.
Okay, let's keep going for a second.
And the whole idea of, at the end of the day, if you want to go do that, go kill yourself, man. If you want to go do that in the game, go kill yourself. That's what we're talking about.
No. What we're talking about is like 2 weeks later after a situation, because this is the 26th. Let's see, when was this one posted? The 10th. The 10th. Over 2 weeks later, you respond about something that has been mentioned multiple times because you have just straight up told people to go kill themselves. It is not about, at this point, it is not about some of the things you are stating. You never, in that section, because that isn't edited, it's not cut from chronological order. There are some clips that keep getting shown that go kill yourself, man, because it's hilarious. But yeah, I do want to point that out because you are openly stating that that is not the context, but that is the exact context. This makes no sense to me.
The context is death in a game. And everybody was responding, it doesn't need an easy mode. It's an easy game. Or it doesn't.
I mean, it kind of is an easy game once you get past, like, once you get into how it plays, it is kind of an easy game. Go to other FromSoft titles. Bloodborne is, I would say Bloodborne and Elden Ring are on the same level of difficulty. Bloodborne was actually labeled as the second easiest Dark Souls game at one point, or Souls-like game at one point, and honestly, it's a fair challenge, but once you get the mechanics, it becomes a cakewalk.
Need an easy mode. It's supposed to be a hard game. Making fun of me all day, every day because of my opinion, which go ahead, have your laugh. I still feel how I feel. It's a garbage game. Nobody cares, right? Cool.
Okay, there you go. You have once and finally stated, this is a joke, that your opinion is it's a garbage game. Your opinion. Why are you so mad? Because you're bringing this up again. This all stems from Elden Ring review you did. But at this point, they're not talking about the review. They are far past the review being what the problem is here. Like, far past the review being the problem. You keep bringing the review back up, and that's what keeps piloting people back to the abuse victims, the go kill yourself man, the graphics are dog shit. You bringing up the reviews what keeps bringing those back. You've actually posted a video showing your comment section being destroyed. By the way, it's hilarious because if you go through his video, which I will show you which video it is in a minute, but it's kind of funny. It in no way, shape, or form does it actually show too many seriously negative comments. Most of the comments you actually see are generally tame, and from what I've understood, not really bad. Some of them I can see being aggressive and hostile, but most of them have no real reason to be removed.
Cool. Move on. Why are we here over a month later with Elden Ring reviews popping up about me? Look it up. People say it was never about Elden Ring. It is the reason people like Mischief blasted off to over 100,000 subscribers.
Yet again, the original reason that these videos popped up was because of Elden Ring, but you're the one who keeps going back to it was about the opinion of the game, when the opinion of the game was not what the problem was. Was not.
Dragging in the Elden Ring community, which is a popular community, gaming community, or whatever, and then combining that with drama, well, now you have something explosive. And now every young kid is trying to do that because they saw it worked for one, so it can maybe work for me. I could be the next Mischief. These kinds of victories signify dangerous behavior.
Nope. It signifies people banding together to go against you or bring light to the situation, or possibly the other way around where they're going against Mischief and the Act Man. But, and here's kind of my take on it, is I went into this trying to be more objective, and I realize I've went way more subjective, um, because the actions going into this and rewatching some of this, I've, with context, the full context of most of these situations and encounters, I have realized that some of the things that Quantum states is, well, it's as it's as bad as he claims the graphics of Elden Ring are.
At the end of the road. Because people like this don't stop with just...
No, typically they do if you leave them alone and don't keep antagonizing them. For the record, he has had approximately 9 videos since the Elden Ring review that have all been taken down by him.
harassing one person or 2 people or 3 people. YouTube allows this kind of content where they go after somebody's personal take and opinion with all kinds of swears and insults. You know, I can't tell you the amount of times I've been called mentally retarded.
I mean, I'm not gonna say it, but you did.
A narcissist, a piece of...
You are a narcissist. Look up narcissism. Actually, here, hold on. Oh, wait. Yeah, sorry. Don't exactly know how to spell it. Yeah. Narcissism. The extreme... Okay. The extreme self-involvement to the degree that it makes the person ignore the needs of those around them. You're on a platform online. The needs of the people, quote unquote, around you are the people who are generally viewing YouTube. And I just want to point that out real fast. You are being narcissistic.
Of shit, that is when you are harassing somebody.
No one is actively harassing you. There's actually more to harassment than just that. Because if not, then a lot of people in America actually could be arrested for harassment, just on the basis that they're saying things against people. No one has an aggressive presence but you right now. The intimidation, you have actively found information that is not actually publicly accessible, whether you claim it is or not. Part of the reason I've skipped so much of this video is because of the fact that you kind of explained how to do it without going in depth. And it kind of gets a little wobbly there because when you said that, I tried doing the same thing to someone I actively know and found out that that is a lot harder to do than you are implying. But I do know how to do it. There are easy tricks to do it, but you clearly have had, for the way you're explaining to do it, you clearly had to pay a third-party provider to find personal information that you were not supposed to have access to.
You're now injecting your opinion about their character. That is not criticism. Let me show you what criticism...
Nope, it's criticism on you as a person, not the content anymore.
is. His review is garbage because when I play the game, I notice these factual things supported by this factual thing. Following that up within prolonged insults...
Content that threatens individuals is not allowed on YouTube. We also do not allow the content that targets an individual with prolonged or malicious insults based on intrinsic attributes. Intrinsic. Jesus. I don't know why my brain couldn't do that. These attributes include their protected group status or physical traits. Okay. No one is talking about your physical traits or your protected group status, bud. and no one has threatened you. Because if you read this carefully, we don't allow content. We also don't allow content that targets an individual with prolonged or malicious insults based on intrinsic attributes. These attributes include their protected group status or physical traits. I think you might need to look up the word intrinsic, bud, if you're trying to state this actually goes to you.
This is harassment. That's what this is about. And again, listen. I know.
He keeps pulling this up like it is somehow changed.
Oh, for a fact, he's going to try to add more, like I said. And the reason I'm putting this out there is so that you guys know what.
And I just want to point out, I've actually been keeping track of this a bit. He's not added more to this. This is how it is. This is still the exact same post, the one that I just showed you a little bit ago. Let me close out of that. Scroll back up a bit to it. Yeah. Exact same post. The post has not changed. This is how this post is. End of story. Has not changed. He's not added to it.
What he's like. Because, listen, when you're fucking luck is what I say to all of you. Because this has proven that there is a very criminal element to this gaming community that Elden Ring has created. This is entire.
Yes, this is a criminal. This is a criminal post. Dylan Razif. Criminal. You can't like Elden Ring. Not at all. It's illegal. Get out of here with that crap. No. That's not how this works. You cannot seriously state this stuff is criminal. No maidens plus ratio.
The player base that is attacking one person right now.
That
I make TV reviews. I talk about games.
None of those were about. None of those were actually like criminal hostility.
Gaming. I talk about technology. You're not going to like everything I say. I'm not going to like everything you say. You feel that you have the right to rip somebody's video down, put it up, insult them, harass them across multiple strings of video.
Actually, they didn't rip it down. Ripping it down, if you didn't know, ripping a video down is actually forcibly taking it off of their thing. Which is what you're trying to do. You're trying to actively rip someone's content down.
They better never say a thing to you, or you're going to continue to bully and harass them like Griffin.
You have done way more videos on this subject than any of them have. At this point, you're harassing them. This is not... Because part of the unwanted contact thing for harassment is you can't be feeding it. You can't feed it. If you keep posting stuff and removing it, they actually do have a right to reply to what you had posted. Whether you remove it or not, it was still there. They got these clips from somewhere, meaning you had posted it. If it had never went online and was on your private computer or your private phone, then you might have a basis for that. But you don't.
Gaming, Review Tech USA, the list goes on, okay? Then maybe your days might be numbered on YouTube, because maybe one day YouTube rolls out a policy, much like they did with the dislike button, where they know that you're using...
For those of you guys who don't know, there's actually an extension you can get that actually reactivates the dislike button, like for the numbers. Which YouTube has seen in videos like this. I don't have it. The only thing I have is an ad blocker because, well, for this video I didn't want to get copyright stricken by ads because to post the ad I'd have to post it in its entirety and not be able to modify it at all, along with the chance that it could play music.
Shit as a digital scoreboard. Maybe they know that people like you exist.
Yeah, see? That right there. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. You're talking about illegally downloading stuff? Phoop. This is supposed to be more like a thing from YouTube. Oh my God. YouTube has a download button. When did that happen?
That like to guise harassment as fair use
They even have a
criticism.
clip
And
button.
when that day finally comes, because, come on, social media is what it is, it's always evolving. When they find out about stuff like this, you're going to really see just how far you go. And
Who's using numbers as a scoreboard? This guy. He wants to talk about people using numbers as a scoreboard. He's the only one doing that, or was until other YouTubers passed him because of the publicity this got them. Positive publicity, by the way, not negative. Oh, that was sad.
And that's honestly why you guys are all doing all this. You're afraid. You're shaking in your boots because without that harassment content, that juicy, toxic click shit that you have.
Is Quantum
Should've told you what The Last of Us Part 2 had
Wait,
in
wait, wait,
store
wait,
for
wait,
you.
wait, wait, wait.
I mean, they literally.
Okay, quaking in their boots. Quaking in their boots.
Salty angry.
Real hard to find him at all.
Subscribe to me too. What?
Literally admitting on camera, like, it's not even like there's a blank screen and he could say 5G hacked his brain, the deep state hacked his brain, or whatever. He's literally on camera admitting the cyber stalking.
Do I need to say any more on that matter? Because I think that little clip it right there actually said enough. They're not quaking. The Act Man hasn't posted in a while. I presume it's because of either legal action or what happened when he went to his meeting last Wednesday with a YouTube representative. Either one is validly possible. So he might just not be posting because of something he was informed about that's going to happen or might happen. Or maybe he was told not to alter his channel in any way, shape, or form because of these issues. He has actually appeared in one of Mischief's streams, like stated earlier, to try to speak to you. They want to talk to you. They don't want to message, because if you message someone, see, I don't have a thing on my computer to let me take screenshots of small sections, but you can download things like that where you can like hold a button, highlight over something, and then I could take a screenshot that is literally as big as those words combined. Because if you do that, you can literally post things someone says out of context completely. It's why people don't like doing that. And they'll post comments, or when they post a comment, they'll post the ones that are related to it above it.
You don't have a channel. And that's the reality. I can.
Okay, I do want to point out, Mischief actually had videos up before all of this stuff started. It wasn't like he started his YouTube career by insulting someone. No. He had 7,000 subscribers when this whole ordeal started. The whole ordeal started. He had a YouTube channel before that. Once this stuff's done, he's still going to have a YouTube channel. It's just going to be much better off because of the publicity this has got him.
Can make product reviews all day, every day. You can't. And
actually, he did have specifically product reviews, or better known as game reviews. He just didn't have a lot of them. Let's go to playlists. Reviews.
Guardians of...
Not gonna actually play this video. I just wanted to see the list pop up. Okay. Guardians of the Galaxy. Halo Infinite. Dying Light 2. Oh yeah, that's his review that he said, where he just didn't recommend buying it on computer, because of said issues. But yeah, it. But you're making yourself seem so bad.
That's what this is about. You want your money. Don't get in the way, right? So, at the end of the day,
It's not about getting in the way, and it's not really about the money. If you look at what's happened actually because of this situation, you are profiting massively from it too, because your views went from 3,000 views per video to skyrocketing to like double, triple that. At least on some of them. Some of them much higher. Your views kind of affect that. Yours have went up too. But the difference is yours might cover the legal case you may or may not be planning. We don't know.
said what I needed to say. You guys see the Act Man's a liar.
You have in no way proved the Act Man is a liar. You have not proved the Act Man is a liar. You cannot assume people know that. What definitive proof have you actually done?
Mother's lying. Is she told?
Okay, no. The way you worded things on the phone and your tone of voice, because I have actually watched that clip in its entirety, and I don't feel like doing that because that is like a 5-6 minute clip of like black with a timer on it with audio. And I have watched it in its entirety. If you do slow it down, you can actually hear his tone of voice a bit better, and it sounds pretty hostile. It really does. But Jesus, that's not okay. Because if she feels threatened, she can say she felt like you threatened her. If you feel threatened, that means you are interpreting it as a threat, especially when it looks and sounds like a thinly veiled threat attempt.
Told him this stuff. I mean, this is pathetic. This is sad. I just wanted her to pass me off to you, and that's what she should have done. And instead, you chose to make very criminal threats. And
Nope. If he sees you, he's actually in the right because you have threatened his mother. And you would have to actively go across the country to find him.
I sincerely hope that you get help, you stop doing this, and all your fans cease and desist with this behavior. I mean, that's the best we can do in this situation, right? But as you guys who've been watching me for years know, I'm the #1 brand in honesty for a reason. Because I expose lies like this massive one between this celebrity YouTuber, 1.3 million subscribers, feeling like he can threaten to murder somebody just because he doesn't like that they called his mother to get in.
Now you're using. Okay, so this is the thing. You essentially held your YouTube subscriber count over Mischief because you were stating he was a lower tier YouTuber. There are no tiers of YouTubers. I mean, one could argue the opposite, but with this case, the quote unquote tier of YouTuber doesn't matter. What is happening is happening. It would be like if this happened to someone on the street. It doesn't matter if one's a doctor and one's homeless.
Contact with him to try to get him to stop causing damages to their channel. So I'll say this. Thanks for watching the #1 brand in honesty.
I just want to state most of what has been said here isn't honest.
Yet another truth bomb has been dropped.
No, it has
Until the
not.
next video, see you guys later.
Nope. Oh, a lot of this stuff is horrible. Okay. And Jesus. That was horrible. I just want to point out a lot of this is undisputably nonsense. I guess you could dispute some of it, but I just want to point out that that is not okay. You you have antagonized people. You have antagonized people. People stood up to defend against antagonized, like being antagonized. You proceeded to go after them. They defended themselves, brought forth proof, and started forming an offense against you. At what point did they harass you? If you want to go the harassment route, both of you could be found responsible. Because no one who did the review of your review can actually be marked as harassing because all they did was review a review. You proceeded to go after them. You have tried to get people's channels taken down. Well, not taken down, but you've tried copyright striking, not claiming their channels. It's honestly not okay. You can't go after people just because they upset you. That's not how a public platform works. And the fact that you have continued to go on with this for this long and taking your videos down so no one can show the proof as seen by your Twitter disappearing when someone starts commenting, because no one who's hacked your account is going to delete it for you. I just want to state that's pretty much all for this video. I will be trying, like I said, to interview both people involved in this, or all three. And I guess from there we'll see how things go. I might do an update to this whenever more info comes out, but for the time being, this is all that's out. So, I will talk to you guys later. Peace out.